Here are the brackets. Again, the Cardinals getting done what they needed to at home. It'll be back to Phoenix now as you look lower right on your bracket sheet. Of course, the Braves await the winner. And you'll see on Fox tonight, Oakland trying to finish off the team that has won it all for the last 5 years. And tomorrow, Cleveland will try and finish off Seattle. And Rex, we talked about it. And again, the Yankees and A's coming up. Mussina and Zito promised to keep it a little more entertaining than 17-2. That's 17 games won with Mussina and Zito.
I mean, you have two excellent teams that are fighting off elimination. Yankees and now Seattle.
Cleveland.
Well, it appears as if the Cleveland game is easily in hand. Safe to say the Indians have the 2-1 series lead. When we come back, the elimination game, Game 3 in Oakland. We'll break down the Yankees and the A's. Out with the old and in with the new, maybe the order of the day in Oakland. The Yankees dynasty is desperate, and the new kids on the block would love to take their place as the regular invitee to the ALCS. Hi, everyone. Welcome inside the Fox Network Center. I'm Jeannie Zalasko, along with Kevin Kennedy. The road to the World Series goes through Fox Sports, your exclusive home for the entire postseason. Who is afraid of the big bad Yankees? Certainly not the A's. From a wild card to possible giant killers, Kevin.
Yeah, I think the Oakland A's really showed their poise with Mark Mulder and Tim Hudson in Game 1. No fear in the Bronx, no fear at Yankee Stadium. They were absolutely outstanding. Now they're back home with a 2-0 lead. They got their hot man, Barry Zito, on the mound.
Joe Torre, loyal to a fault sometimes, but as you suggested the other night, he did make some lineup changes.
Well, let's face it. So Neal and Justice have not had great at-bats in this series. You got to get some right-handers in there against Barry Zito's breaking ball. Shane Spencer hits seventh, plays right field. And you've got Velarde in the lineup, a former Oakland A's second baseman. It's DHing tonight. Soriano in the 2 spot. I like the moves by Joe Torre. He needed to do this to get some right-handed bats in that lineup. 15 of 18 home runs off of Barry Zito are off of right-handed hitters.
Yankees on the brink of elimination. The same could be said for the Cardinals as they face the Diamondbacks on a Saturday. And guess what? They live on. This series shifting to Arizona for Game 5. Great matchup on the Fox net tomorrow night. It is Curt Schilling versus Matt Morris, rematch at Game 1, and a final that was final a long time ago. Indians over the Mariners, 17-2. Tribe have a 2-1 series lead. We'll have more from the Fox Network Center, gearing up for what should be an incredible game in Oakland. Stay tuned. The A's take the field with a chance to do what no team has done in the past 3 years, and the Yankees season with a loss. Welcome back to the Fox Network Center. Kevin Kennedy, break it down for us. What do the Yankees have to do to survive? What do the A's have to do to get rid of them?
Well, the Yankees got to swing the bats a lot better than they did in Game 1 and Game 2. They just did not swing the bats well. They have to use their legs and get down and get their big guys going. Now, Mussina's on the mound in this game. This guy was outstanding in his last 7 starts. 5-0, a 1.10 earned run average. A great fastball, great command, doesn't walk anybody, and a great overhand knuckle curve you're going to see tonight. Bernie Williams has got to get his bat going. 3 for 30 versus Oakland in 2001 and the ALDS. That will not get it done. They got to get that offense going. For the Oakland A's, Zito was the pitcher of the month in the American League in August and September. 9-0, 1.37 earned run average. And again, you're going to see tonight a lights out, best overhand curveball, in my opinion, in Major League Baseball today from a left-hander. Oakland has won 8 straight games versus the Yankees this season, including 2 games in the divisional series. And the Yankees, again, have to make adjustments. Derek Jeter is 5 for 8. He's going down. He's using his legs. He's driving the ball to all field with backspin. The rest of the Yankees have not had great at-bats. Therefore, the lineup changes tonight for Joe Torre. I think it's a good move because then you got 2 lefties off the bench like O'Neill and Justice for better matchups when they bring the right-handers in should they knock Zito out.
And this could help the championship series start to take shape. At least we know half of the bracket in the National League. The Braves have moved on. Should be a great pitching situation in Arizona tomorrow night on the Fox Network.
I'm looking forward to that. That's Schilling tomorrow night for the Diamondbacks and Matt Morris, who's outstanding. Now, Schilling won Game 1, 1-0. Schilling was outstanding. But Matt Morris can lock you up, too. He's got a great overhand curveball as well. And guess what? who might be in relief. It would be Randy Johnson should Schilling get in trouble. Randy Johnson has pitched in relief in the 95 playoffs before. It was Bob Brenly's plan all along. Looks like that's what it's going to happen.
Yeah, nice pen if you can get it. But let's look at these starters for tonight because the journey continues in Oakland. How long has it been since you've heard this? A must-win situation for the Yankees. I'm Jeannie Zalasko at the Fox Network Center. Welcome to what could be the end of an era for the Yankees and the start of something beautiful for the A's. Game 3, elimination time for the world champs. Tom Brenneman and Steve Lyons have all the action from Oakland.
At Yankee Stadium, the brash young Oakland A's looked every part the second half juggernaut they were in the regular season. A combination of power hitting and dominant pitching has left New York frustrated in an 0-2 hole. But these are the Yankees, and the three-time defending world champions are still breathing and still fighting. Game 3 is next.
We're going national.
Welcome to a sold-out Network Associates Coliseum in Oakland, California. Game 3 between Jason Giambi and the Oakland Athletics taking on Paul O'Neill, Joe Torre, and Derek Jeter's New York Yankees. And a pleasant good evening to you. Alongside Steve Lyons, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to playoff baseball here on Fox. Never before in a best-of-5 series has a team lost the first 2 games at home and come back to win that series. But then again, you're not talking about the New York Yankees.
The defending champs. It's amazing that they may be getting a taste of their own medicine. If they lose this game, they will be getting swept out of a series. Joe Torre told us earlier today that he needs his team to be more aggressive. They have not led in a ball game against the Oakland A's for the last 76 innings, so he's made some changes. There's your first 3 hitters in the lineup. Knobloch, Soriano, and Jeter hitting 1, 2, 3. More than 100 stolen bases between those guys. He says, I want my team to be overly aggressive.
Shane Spencer starts in right. Randy Velarde, the DH. No Paul O'Neill, nor David Justice. The problem for the Yankees, getting runners home, getting guys on base. And tonight, they face Barry Zito.
Not getting any easier against Barry Zito because the shadows in this ball game with the time of day that we're starting could be a problem. Barry Zito has probably the best left-handed curveball in the game today, and when he starts flipping that ball up into the shadows, he's going to be awfully difficult to hit.
Joe Torre told us they can't win 3 games today. They have to take 1 game at a time. The Yankees down 2-0. The A's trying to finish them off in a 3-game sweep. Game 3 next. Waiting for the Oakland Athletics to take the field, and this is going to be a rocking house here tonight. Maybe not the same decibel level necessarily it was at Yankee Stadium. This is a huge facility since they've added what they call Mount Davis. When the Oakland Raiders returned a couple of years ago, and we expect to have close to 57,000 fans on hand for baseball only. They can only announce it at a little more than 43,000.
That's because of all those extra football seats. This section way up here technically isn't counted as baseball seating. So once you finally get guys up in those seats, you're talking about a football type of crowd. And that's the kind of crowd that the Oakland A's are hoping for here at home. And you know, one of the reasons why Zito has not taken the mound out there is because he takes maybe longer than any other pitcher in baseball to warm up. He's been out there warming up since 7 after the hour of 4 o'clock. That's almost an hour that he warms up to get himself ready to pitch a ball game.
Now, what about the shadows? You brought them up a little bit earlier, Steve. Twilight here in the west. There you get a look at where they fall just beyond the second base bag.
Well, I thought that they might be worse than they are right now. I thought that this shadow would start a little bit closer in here and then start moving out that way. As you can tell, it's already out of the infield, but that is the worst shadow that a guy can play in. When it's bright out in this area, and then as a hitter, you're standing in the darkness or in the shadow, and you're looking into the brightness out off the center field wall where the paint has a little bit of gloss on it. that's the toughest shadow to hit out of.
And here come the Athletics, leading this series 2-0. We mentioned Joe Torre changing his lineup for a Game 3 of this series. No Paul O'Neill, no David Justice, loading up the lineup with a right-handed batsman at the top of the order. Chuck Knobloch will lead off in left. Alfonso Soriano at second. Derek Jeter, 5 hits and 8 at-bats in the series, is at short. Bernie Williams in center. Tino Martinez at first. Jorge Posada behind the plate. Shane Spencer getting the nod in right field. Randy Velarde, the designated hitter. And the former Athletic Scott Brocious is at third. A pair of 17-game winners locking up here today. Barry Zito gets a ball for Oakland.
Barry Zito, a lot of people know the story behind this guy. Kind of a guy that's out there a little bit, a very smart guy, but a very eccentric pitcher. You see the numbers, look at the scouting report on Zito. He has learned to use both sides of the plate with his fastball. That's what's made the difference for him in the second half. As we mentioned in the open, maybe the best left-handed curveball in all of baseball, a big 12-6 breaker. And this is a guy, for a 23-year-old kid, who has as good a mental preparation and watching the tapes, studying video, getting himself prepared to play as any veteran in the game today.
We'd like to welcome those of you who were watching the Cleveland Indians dismantle the Seattle Mariners 17-2, the final in that game. And all of a sudden, Steve, the Tribe within 1 game of eliminating Seattle.
Well, we always knew that the Tribe could swing the bats. We weren't sure about their pitching, as most of the country said, hey, if their pitching can hold up, that team could be a very, very dangerous team in the playoffs.
Zito made 1 start against the Yankees in the division series last year, was a winning pitcher in an 11-1 decision at Yankee Stadium in Game 4. The A's gave him an early lead, scoring 3 times in the opening inning, and he never looked back. Chuck Knobloch, 3 hits and 8 at-bats, has knocked in a run in this series. And here we go, Game 3 from Oakland. A fastball high and away, and we're underway. 1-0 to Knobloch. A down year overall for Knobloch. In fact, his worst as a major leaguer. A .250 hitter, 9 home runs, 44 batted in. 2-0.
Well, a pretty widely publicized move into left field for Chuck Knobloch after the problems he had fielding at second base. Try to hope that he didn't take his concentration from left field and have it detract from what he does at the plate, because this is a guy that needs to be the catalyst of this ball club. Look at the numbers over the last 3 seasons and this year. Everything clearly way down, including the on-base percentage. He's the leadoff guy.
2-1 on the way. And it's 1-1 and fouled back out of play. Just below our booth. 2-2 to Knobloch.
You remember last year, Tommy, when he was going through all his throwing problems at second base and they were talking about benching him, or they didn't know what to do with him, or DHing him. To a man, the Yankees said, without Knobloch at the top of our order, we're not winning anything.
On the ground, Tejada charges and boots it. That'll be an error on Miguel Tejada. He committed 20 errors during the season, his lowest total since getting the everyday shortstop job.
Well, you know, this is a play where Tejada turns this into a do-or-die play, coming in to field it off the wrong foot, and it hits him right off the heel of his glove. But what he didn't know is that Knobloch got a terrible jump out of the box. Knobloch was acting like he fouled that pitch off or something. Took him forever to get out of the box. There's the ball right off the heel, right off the thumb of the glove. That's a play that does not need to be made that way. Check out Knobloch, like he didn't even know where the ball was after he hit it. Took him a step to get out of there.
You talked about being aggressive. Joe Torre told us he plans on being very aggressive. Why not? You're down 0-2 in the series. And here's Soriano. Pushes a bunt right at Giambi. So the Yankees trying to play small ball right out of the box. And Soriano can't put it on the ground. 1 away. Let's take a look at the Athletics defensively. Terrence Long Johnny Damon and Jermaine Dye, one of the best outfield arms in all of baseball. Left, center, and right. Chavez, Tejada, Menachino, Giambi, third to first, a battery of Zito and Ramon Hernandez. Now Derek Jeter. 5 hits and 8 at-bats. Has not scored a run in this series, and that pretty much is all you need to know about the Yankees. If Jeter's not scoring, the chances of them winning games is slim. Good changeup by Zito, 0-1.
Look at the numbers so far. 429 average, 4 hits, 7 RBIs. All those multi-hit games. A 12-game postseason hitting streak. What a post-game performer this guy has been in his Yankee seasons.
0-1 on the way, and it's popped up. Zito got in on Jeter again. This could be a tough play, and Dye calling off Menachino. 2 gone in the inning. That is a battle with the sunshine in right and center.
I love the fact that Dye came in to make this play. Look at him hustling in to make this play. A lot of right fielders would say, hey, I don't want any part of this. You second baseman, you come on out and get this. The key to that was the communication. You could see Dye screaming for Menachino to get out of the way, and Frankie did a great job of stopping, getting out of the way, and let the outfielder who's coming in on the play make the easier play.
Knobloch reached on the air by Tejada to begin the inning. He's still standing over there with 2 away, and now it's Bernie Williams. Only 1 hit in 8 at bats, so 1 hit was a double. Fastball on the outside corner, a strike. How about this 1-2-3 punch in the front of Art Howe's pitching rotation? Mulder, terrific in game 1. Hudson, spectacular in game 2. And many will tell you Zito is the best of the lot, and he's going in game 3. You'll get a lot of debate on which one's the best. But the numbers clearly don't lie. I mean, it takes you back to Catfish and Vita Blue and Kenny Holtzman.
Reminds you a lot of the Yankees staff in their recent World Series championship days here over the last 5 or 6 seasons. They did it with a pretty decent offense and a lot of pitching.
Oh, 2 to Williams.
See, this is the ability that Zito has to change speeds. Pretty good fastball, but then that big curveball. I mean, that thing starts off at your head, ends up at your ankles, and it is so tough to pick a spot to hit it.
Time was called by Williams at the plate before the 0-2 pitch.
Williams told me before the game that the way that he tries to approach Zito is that he knows he's going to try to get in on his hands with that fastball. But if he sees the elevation of the pitch change, then he has to sit as a hitter. Curveball gets flipped up out of the pitcher's hand, and a fastball comes out of it on a much different trajectory. So Williams is up there looking for the trajectory of the pitch. He knows if he has to change his eye level, his eye angle to see the ball and has to raise up, then he has to sit back as a hitter because he knows it's going to be a breaking ball.
The big breaking ball, and the inning is over. An error, 1 left, an impressive opening inning by Zito. The A's bat when we return. Art House, Oakland A's, the wild card, believe it or not, into the American League postseason. Winners of 102 games, and here's the way he fills out the lineup card. Johnny Damon, Miguel Tejada, and Jason Giambi, the front 3. Jermaine Dye, Eric Chavez, and Jeremy Giambi, the DH. Terrence Long, a couple of home runs in game 1, will be followed by Hernandez, and then the second baseman, Frank Menachino. Mike Messina, 17-11 on the year for the Yankees. And here's Damon, who looks at strike 1.
What another outstanding season for Messina. This is the number that I like right there, 42 walks. The guy just has unbelievable control, throws the ball where he wants to. He's got about 6 pitches.
Damon had 4 hits in the series opener. He's 6 of 9.
check out the scouting report. One of the reasons why he's so effective is because every one of his deliveries is exactly the same. He hides his pitches. He can throw any pitch anytime for a strike, and the guy has pinpoint control. He will paint all day long with any pitch he wants.
Yeah, Damon way out in front there, and Messina ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Our telecast also, pardon me, Steve, available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Pardon me, my young friend.
Not that much.
2-2.
I talked to Jorge Posada, and he told me, you know, he throws mostly a 4-seam fastball because he wants to ride that fastball, but he can't cut it. He'll also throw a 2-seamer every once in a while. He's got a knuckle curve and a regular curveball and pretty much a straight change.
Pulled down to Tino Martinez. Pretty nice play there. That ball almost flattened out on him a little bit. 1 away. The Yankees defensively. Knobloch, Williams, and Spencer left, center, and right. Martinez, Soriano, Jeter, and Brocious, the 99 Gold Glove winner. 22 errors during the regular season. He's made a couple of dazzling plays, and then the big boot in the 9th inning of Game 2, which gave the A's a 2-0 lead for Jason Isringhausen. Now Miguel Tejada hit 31 home runs during the regular season. Broken bat grounder down to third, and Brocious, having to fear the bat coming his way, was able to collect it, throw out Tejada, and get out of the way.
You know what, Tommy? I'm not so sure that Brocious even saw that bat coming, because if he did, I don't know if he would have been able to catch the ball. Watch his eyes here. See if he sees the bat. I don't think he sees it. He's looking at the ball, kicks it around there a little bit, and then throws him out. That bat was headed right at him. And I really think it's a good thing that he didn't know it was coming, because there's no way you could keep your concentration on both things at one time. And, you know, I know you want to play a good third base down there, but you see a bat coming at you, your mind will start headed towards that bat instead of catching the ball.
You can understand that. Now the reigning American League most valuable player, Jason Giambi. And a big breaking ball in there, a strike. Giambi hit 38 home runs, knocked in 120 runs. He'll get some votes for the league's most valuable player again this year. And as everybody's been talking throughout the series, Giambi a free agent at season's end. 0-2. Get a look at the numbers comparing Giambi's 2000 season when he won that MVP award with this year's numbers.
Pretty good comparisons right down the line. And when you talk about one guy on one ball club that clearly leads his team, you talk about Jason Giambi almost exclusively. I mean, I don't know that there's another one guy on a franchise that leads the team any better than this guy leads this one.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Messina says to Giambi in a 1-2-3 opening inning.
The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. By Siemens, global network of innovation. And by Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you.
Top half of the second inning, no score in Game 3 in this American League Division Series. And Tino Martinez hit with the first pitch from Barry Zito to open this inning. Tino looking out there, and they have barked out at Zito. At this point, the Yankees will take him on base any way they can get him.
Well, you know, down through time here over the last 5 seasons, it seems like Tino Martinez is the target when someone gets hit. Now, that's no way intentional, but that hurts. Right off the inside elbow there. He tried to turn away from it. And Martinez always seems to be the guy on the Yankees that they drill, so I think he gets tired of it. Even when he knows it's not intentional, not at this time, but doesn't make that elbow hurt any less.
No. Zito only hit 13 batters during the regular season. That's not a huge total for a guy who throws well over 200 innings. Ball one high to Jorge Posada. Posada 3 of 7 in the series is double. And here's a pitch from Zito, and it's inside. 2-0. Kerwin Danley calling the balls and strikes here today. Jerry Lane at first, Mark Hirschbeck at second, Ron Kulpa at third, and down the left field line, Steve Ripley, Ted Barrett down the right field line. That's something Joe Torre will not be happy about with Posada. He said that his team has to be more patient.
More patient at the plate and more aggressive on the bases. Now, when you hit the first guy and then you go 2 balls, no strikes on the second, you might think guys would take a strike and see what Zito's got going there. Then you swing at a pitch almost over your head.
3-1. Well, the Yankee offense limping towards the finish line. Ever since really it assumed control of the American League East, distancing itself from Boston.
Or Boston distanced themselves from the Yankees.
That's a good point. 3-1. Should be 2. Chavez. Menachino come on the back, catches toe on the back, and completes a double play. That's a big-time play there by Frank Menachino.
Well, Chavez let that ball tail on him a little bit. It was hit so hard, he should have known that he had more time. You see him sidearm it. Look at Frankie make a great play over there, keep his foot on the bag. Now he knows that he's in a little bit of trouble there. The last thing a second baseman wants to have happen is to have him pulled into the line of fire right there. Here comes Tino right at him. Menachino does a great job of taking the extra step because he knows he has time. Get himself out of the way and turn the double play.
Now Shane Spencer. Spencer getting his first start of the series. This is his first at bat in the series. But when this guy plays, he puts up some good numbers.
Yes, he does. I mean, for a part-time player to do what he's done, the number of at-bats that he's had for the Yankees.
Come all the way back from the reconstructed knee surgery that occurred a year ago, and the numbers don't lie.
There you go. Pretty good record when he's in there. And I'll tell you, when he came up for September a few years ago, when they were calling him the natural, when he was hitting all the home runs and doing what he did for this organization. A lot of people in baseball think that he could be a regular player in another organization. Instead, sits and waits his turn for the Yankees.
Getting over. Second strikeout for Zito. He hit a batter to start it. Got a double play. And Fan Spencer. No score.
Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Energizer. Do you have the bunny inside? And by your neighborhood 7-Eleven store. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
Welcome back to Oakland. No scores. The A's come to bat here in the bottom half of the second inning against Mike Messina, who retired the side in order. In the Oakland first, Jermaine Dye takes a breaking ball in the dirt. Coming your way tomorrow, Game 5 from Phoenix, Arizona, between the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks. Matt Morris and Curt Schilling will lock up. And what a game that figures to be. Those two matched up in Game 1 of that series, and Schilling out-dueled Morris 1-0 the final.
Yeah, baby.
A catch in the boot by none other than Steve Psycho Lyons.
And I had to save you again, too. It's unbelievable how I have to reach over and save you every time.
Guilty as charged, brother. That's a big-time play.
Yeah, but now I can see what you were talking about, bouncing off a monitor there and hitting you in the lips.
What I mean, I learned my lesson, strangely enough, at Shea Stadium in New York. Try to reach over to catch one, hit the monitor out of my reach, and right back in the old nose. That felt good.
And I can see the permanent damage that it left.
On the ground, Jeter plays a high hop. And a throw in time to get Jermaine Dye. One away, 4 up and 4 down to start the game from Messina, which should come as no surprise. He has been, along with Zito, on top of his game over the second half of the season. I mean, both have been phenomenal.
And he almost always is. He says you kind of go one of two ways after you get around 200 innings as a pitcher. And he says for him, it seems like he starts to get stronger and has more command of his pitches once he gets into that area.
Now Chavez. And that one swung on and fouled back out of play. And some of you may be wondering, you've heard him called Chavez. And we asked him about it, and he said he doesn't really mind either way. He said, but his father has always pronounced the family name Chavez. So you always want to honor mom and dad. And Eric, we're going to do the same for your dad.
Your dad says that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Well, I'm sweating after that. I feel like I made my very first postseason putout.
Well, you did. Low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I mean, I've been sitting up here with you for crying out loud for 22 weeks. You've been kicking them all over the league.
Oh,
but now,
man,
on the biggest stage, you come up with a point. One-two pitch. On the ground at Jeter. They had him played that way. Just to the third base side of second. 2 up, 2 down. Messina has pitched very well in a couple of starts against the A's here in Oakland.
And watch the way Jeter has this ball played. He's way up the middle. Now Jeter still has the bad left hamstring, so he will shade himself much more up the middle than he normally would. Plus he's got Brocious over at third that still has great range and can cover some ground, but Jeter can't cover as much ground with the bad leg. So he'll shade himself up the middle more often than not, because a lot of the balls over there in the 6 hole between the third baseman and the shortstop are going to be hits anyway.
Taken high, 1-0 to Jeremy Giambi, getting his second start of the series. 1 hit in 5 at bats. He has a double as his only hit. 12 home runs during the regular year and 57 batted in. Swing and a miss. Started to talk about Messina. His first start out here, he went 6 innings, allowed 3 earned runs. His last start here, he went 8 innings and never once pitched out of the stretch. Not one time. Allowed 2 hits, both of them solo home runs. In fact, they came by Tejada and Chavez. But he had to leave the game tied at 2. Mike Stanton gave it up, allowing a home run off the bat of Jason Giambi in a 4-2 Oakland win.
It's amazing to think that you could go through an entire game and never pitch out of the stretch and give up 2 runs.
1-2 on Jeremy Giambi. Swung on and fouled back out of play. And Art Howe said that to us yesterday. I'm thinking, now I already know I'm a dummy, and I feel dumber now, because I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. Never pitched out of his stretch. And they said, well, now you get it figured out.
Yeah. Well, for some people, it takes a little longer. Yeah. I'll tell you, though, Tom, in the games that we've seen, and the games we've watched on TV as well throughout these playoffs, we've seen classic ability of pitchers to be able to get inside on hitters. And everybody will tell you, every pitching coach around the league will tell you that if you cannot pitch inside, you can't pitch in the big leagues. If you can't get in there, there's another guy that knows how to get inside, Andy Pettit. But some unbelievable ability to go in and bury guys in on their hands.
Giambi rolls over one foul at the first base line. Can you ever remember very early in a postseason where there have been as many great pitching performances as we have seen around baseball already?
You know, they always say that once the playoffs roll around, the offensive numbers will go down because these teams are facing the best pitching staffs in the game at that point in time. But the pitching duels that we've had, and I truly believe that the lack of offensive numbers we've seen, you know, with disregard to the Cleveland game today, but the lack of offensive we've seen has been because of tremendous pitching, not anemic offense.
2-2 again on Giambi. The breaking ball stays high and away. 3-2. A good at bat here by Jeremy Giambi. By far the best of any Oakland hitter. And what a patient bunch this Oakland team has been the last 2 years. Ball 4. That's an outstanding at bat.
And it's funny when you talk about the attitude of the players on the Oakland A's and their reputation around the league as a bunch of guys that are too young, have too much fun, and go about things a little bit differently, and then how the discipline changes when they get on the field and play the game, and you realize how well they understand what they're doing out there.
Messina only walked a little more than one batter per 9 innings. Had the second best control amongst all American League pitchers. So a rare walk indeed. And here's Terrence Long. In there, a strike. Long homered twice in game 1. He's 4 of 8 in the series. Long, like Tejada, played in every Oakland game this season. Has played in the last 237 consecutively. High drive down the right field line towards the corner. It's Spencer, and that ball is out of play.
Now that was close there, just a long strike. But when you talk about the home runs that he's hit already in this series, Long's home run numbers went down this season over last year. You can't just throw one in his wheelhouse and not think that he's going to take a hack at it.
Saw Roger Clemens there. Joe Torre did not give good news before the ball game today as to what might be the availability of Clemens should we get to game 5. More on that later. 1-2.
A lot of people will look at Messina and say this, he does a real funny thing when he goes into the stretch with the big dip. But it's just so that he can take a peek at guys over there at first base. You see him bend way over into the stretch, but what he's really doing is trying to get a better peek at the guy at first base so that he doesn't have to get into the top of his motion, standing there with the pause, and then have to peek over and see what the guy's doing. He likes to get a better look and have a feel for what the guy's doing on first base right there before he gets to that point.
Swing and a miss, and the inning is over. Second strikeout of the game for Messina. We go to the third, no score. His team is down 0-2. We asked Joe Torre yesterday, what's the Yankee mindset coming into game 3?
We really can't be thinking too big here. You know, you can't allow yourself to say, oh my goodness, we can't afford to lose, or we have to win all 3 games that are left in this thing, and because then it becomes a little, you know, awesome. So you really have to think in terms of going out there and, you know, winning tomorrow, and just going and taking it one step at a time.
Even at it a little bit longer, they need to win an inning at a time.
So it's been so tough for them to be aggressive because they haven't jumped out to a lead in any of these games. We mentioned in the open, they haven't jumped out to a lead in 76 innings coming into this game against the Oakland A's.
Randy Velarde, a surprise addition to the Yankees starting lineup here tonight. Good breaking ball in there by Zito, and it's 1-2. Velarde came back to the Yankees, where he left 4 years ago. Has only hit .152 since coming back, appearing in just 15 games. But a right-handed hitter against the lefty Zito. In the air, straightaway center field for Damon. One away.
You know, Tom, some people might criticize the fact that Joe Torre made some wholesale changes. You don't have O'Neill in the lineup. You don't have Justice in the lineup. Both of those guys have struggled, both left-handed hitters, trying to get his righties in there. But at the same time, that's also between those two guys, 39 home runs sitting on the bench, as compared with just 10 between Spencer and Velarde. Obviously, he's thinking this is going to be more of a low-scoring game, and you might not need the pop. You need someone that can get on base and figure out a way to push across a couple runs, much the same way the National League plays the game.
Scott Brocious looks at a strike from Zito. Left-hander, a quick worker. And a breaking ball in there is strike. And if you had his stuff, you would be too. Well, Justice and O'Neill aren't the only two struggling in this Yankee lineup. And you can throw Bernie Williams in there as well. Three guys that have been in the heart of the order. Foul back out of play.
There are the three guys, and you look at the numbers. You have bats and the hits. Whew. That's not the Yankee type of lineup that we've noticed in postseasons past.
In the air, Menachino waving off Giambi. 2 away.
Both pitchers right now in some kind of groove, putting the ball where they want to put it. Outstanding breaking pitches. I think that's what I've been most impressed with in the postseason, as we talked before. The crispness of the breaking balls that are being thrown in these games. Very few hung breaking balls. We all know what happens to those.
Now Chuck Knobloch, he reached on an error. Leading off the ball game, an error by the shortstop Tejada. And he looks at ball one.
Shake your head, Blue. Your eyes will stop.
A ball and a strike.
And we talk so much about the shadows. There are shades on the windows out here that they've put. If you can see in this area, these are all shades. It's not lights. It's the reflection of the sun. Huge one right there back on the game.
Wouldn't you think they'd change those by now?
I think what they said is that most of those shades would be up during the game. But the problem is the people that are sitting in those luxury boxes have opened them only halfway up because that shades the sun from them. Here's the shade in here. The sun's hitting them directly in the eye, so that protects them from the sun a little bit. But it glares back onto the field. Now, it's not directly behind the pitcher, so you have some room out there where you can see, but you can look at Knobloch in his face. The angle of the glare shines right back towards home plate, so you might not be looking directly into it, but you are feeling the effects of it.
Ooh, big breaking ball. Zito didn't get the call.
Boy, when you see a ball that starts up over your head, and that one hung up there a little bit, maybe the only reason he didn't get the call, a little bit backdoor there, might have been off the plate a little bit, but we've seen that pitch start over Knobloch's head and end up at his ankles.
Tried the changeup that sailed away from him there, and Knobloch works a count full. 2 down, nobody on, no score. Top of the third inning. Game 3 in this American League Division Series.
If you're Knobloch right here, you look dead red, and if he throws you a breaking ball, you're gone.
He did get a fastball, and he was tardy on it. Fair territory, Giambi. The first 1-2-3 inning of the game for Zito. Still no score. Mulder and Hudson went the first 2. Zito here in game 3. And they're hoping to paint the town green before tonight is over. Trying to sweep the defending champion New York Yankees. The 3-time world champion New York Yankees. Winners of 4 of the last 5 World Series titles. 0-1 to Ramon Hernandez. And quickly 0-2. Hernandez, 0 for 6 in the series, has drawn a walk, been hit by a pitch. And for a guy not known for his defense, he has played very good behind the plate in now 2 straight division series against the Yankees. Thrown out 3 of 5 would-be base stealers.
And he's still a very good fastball hitter. You can't make a mistake to this guy or put it in the seats.
So he doesn't get a fastball. 1-2.
You know, we talked so much about how young this pitching staff is. There's Mark Mulder chewing on what used to be a lollipop. These kids are like 14 years old when they're done pitching. They go back and eat candy.
1-2 on Hernandez. And a roller slowly hit up Brocious way. Bare hand throws. And the tag by Martinez on Hernandez. One away.
Well, we talked about Brocious winning a Gold Glove last year with 22 errors this season, which isn't bad. I played down there at third base. Boy, I'd be happy with a 22-error season. Right there, barehanding the ball. That's one of the toughest plays in the game, because if you miss it there on a play like that, they probably won't give the guy a hit. They'll give you an error. If it's a guy that's a really speedy runner, then maybe he gets a hit. That's a tough play to barehand and then make a good throw on. You see that throw pulled him up the line a little bit, but Tino over at first getting it done.
Frankie Menachino, 1 of 8 in the series. In there, a strike. Menachino didn't figure to get nearly the amount of playing time that he's received this season. He was the backup for the very talented young second baseman Jose Ortiz, who got hurt, was ineffective, wound up being traded to Colorado in the Jermaine Dye deal. Menachino got a chance to play every day. He wore it out for the first half. Hit under 200 over the second half.
Well, you see that big arm pad that he has on his elbow. He took a shot off the elbow, got hit. He's been hit 19 times. He doesn't mind getting hit. He'll stick his ribs in there. But you see the second half numbers. He said what happened, he's got hit right off the elbow, still very, very sore. He can't extend. So he said people were going away from him. He couldn't extend out there to hit it, and he was like a little baby up there trying to hit, he said.
1-2, and Menachino having words with Kervin Danley, the home plate umpire.
Well, Menachino's only about 4 feet tall, so he's thinking that this ball's up and out of the strike zone. That's the high strike we've been talking about. Menachino's a little taller than that.
Wow, that is a high strike. Of course, it'll stay there.
Menachino from New York, from Brooklyn, went home when baseball shut down after the attack on the country. Kind of made a surprise visit, didn't tell anybody he was going home to Staten Island, and surprised some of his friends there, and wanted to make sure that everybody was okay. He was pumped to play the series in New York City.
Breaking ball low and away. And we continue to send all our thoughts and prayers to all those brave men and women who are still going through the rubble at the World Trade Center. Haven't forgotten about those at the Pentagon either, or outside of Pennsylvania, and our fighting men and women overseas. In the air, right center field. And Bernie Williams is there on number 2. We asked Art Howe any chance his team could be getting a little cocky up 2 games to none.
I don't think there's any chance of that. We learned a valuable lesson last year fighting the Yankees. We won the first game, had the home field advantage, and that disappeared in a hurry. And I just had a talk with the guys. We're going to keep the pedal to the metal. We're going to have to keep playing as hard as we can play, because we don't want to give them a crack in the door. They're champions for a reason.
Art Howe doing a tremendous job with this organization, and has ever since he took over. And he was in a situation when he took over this team in 1996. They were terrible, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And he built this franchise, he along with Billy Beane. There was starting to be a little light at the end of the tunnel with some younger talent coming up. Then there was some thoughts that maybe Art Howe would get fired. They decided to hang on to him, and what a blessing, too, because he took him through the hard times, and he deserves to be around here to see what this organization has become. That's why he's generally smiling over there.
He looks like he's smiling even when he isn't smiling. He just has that look about him. What a delightful guy to be around. Both these managers. I mean, 2 guys you'd love to have as your father-in-law.
Well, Joe Torre, there's no question about the class that he has brought with him to the Yankee organization since he's been there. And Art Howe, I believe, just needs a little bit more time to develop that type of a reputation, because his team's a good team now. I mean, for so long, nobody cared about the Oakland A's. You didn't know what he was doing with this ball club. That man right there, Jason Giambi, pretty much runs the show, makes Art Howe's job a lot easier.
2 down, nobody on. 2-2 on Johnny Damon, who bounced out to Martinez his first time up. This one a grounder at Soriano. And the inning is over. 1, 2, 3 for Messina. We go to the 4th. No score in Oakland. The Yankees down 2-0 in this best-of-5 series.
Video of the 2001 Major League Baseball Authentic Collection Premium.
The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Top half of the 4th inning. No score. In fact, we haven't had a base hit from either team. Barry Zito on the hill, a 17-game winner for Oakland. Mike Mussina, a 17-game winner for the Yankees. And both have been outstanding through the first 3. Breaking ball in there, a strike to Soriano.
How do you hit that pitch? You tip your cap. Hope he throws it for a ball.
Then he comes back with a changeup. Man, does this guy have good stuff.
Well, both of these guys throw so similarly through their delivery. You can't tell when the ball comes out of their hand which pitch it is, because they are exactly the same with each delivery.
Soriano has seen a breaking ball, a changeup, and a fastball into foul ground and into the first row beyond the Yankee dugout. You know, the Zito you're seeing now is not the Barry Zito that Oakland fans saw in the first half of the season. Bear in mind, through the end of July, Zito was 6-7 in 22 starts with an ERA of over 5. But look what took place since then. 11 wins and a 1.32 ERA. He said a talk with his father got his entire year turned around. His dad told him, I don't know if you're just living on what you did last year, whether you're worried about too much what you're doing this year, whether you're overconfident, but you should be a lot better than the way you're pitching.
Got him back to his focus of pitching instead of trying to strike out everybody. Zito was trying to get too many strikeouts. And there's a strikeout. Once he stopped worrying about him, he started getting them again.
Don't forget, tomorrow on America's favorite pregame show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will take a look at 2 NFL players ready to fight for their country if called upon. Then the Monsters in the Midway. And Brian Urlacher, their outstanding linebacker, will be part of our show. Fox NFL Sunday gets underway, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on Fox.
Well, I'm going to look for Jeter to start thinking about the ball inside and cheat a little bit. He's such a great off-field hitter. His first couple seasons, when he was vulnerable to the pitch away from him, he learned so quickly that he needed to be able to inside out the ball into right center field for hits. Then he became one of the best in the game at doing that. Great inside out swings. You think of guys like Edgar Martinez. Think of Derek Jeter too, but they have been busting him in so much. Classic at bat against Hudson in game 2, where he swung at a couple balls that would have hit him. But he said, I know they're going to go in there. Sooner or later, I might have to cheat and look at the pop one down the left field line.
What a selection Derek Jeter was coming out of high school in Kalamazoo, Michigan. The first-round pick in June of '92, the 6th pick overall. 5th all-time highest career batting average in Yankee history. And that's just part of the story. Good fastball there on the inside corner. Jeter disagreed.
Well, here's that pitch inside. We talked about guys being able to get in there. Look at that. Jeter, you can see as he's approaching that, trying to get his hands inside that pitch so he can go the other way, but he decides that's too far off the plate for me to hit. It was still a strike.
Zito back with a big breaking ball, and Jeter rolls over it 2-2.
Well, Tommy, you know, when I look at numbers sometimes, they don't impress me that much. I could care less about them most of the time. But when I saw that nobody has more hits in the game since 1996 than Derek Jeter, that's impressive.
Two and two to Jeter. And a liner softly hit at second. Menachino's there. They just continue to pound in on Jeter.
And they're teasing him with balls away. You start early in the count, that ball away, fouls it off. Again away. Fastball down. Now we're going to start going in on your hands. There it is. You got the strike. in on the hands again, and now Jeter still wants to stay inside the ball, tries to go the other way with it, and he gets in off the fists of Jeter, and he doesn't have enough guts to get it out of the infield. Excellent, excellent pitching.
Now Bernie Williams, he takes Hine away, ball one. You know, I looked at that last pitch. It didn't look as far in as some of the ones that Hudson was throwing the other night. Did Jeter almost jam himself there, Steve?
Only because, you know, his philosophy of the way he wants to try to go the other way. That's what's made him so successful. Sometimes it's hard to get inside that ball. You're trying to pull your hands inside, drag the bat head through the zone, and you can naturally jam yourself a little bit more often. That's why I said when Jeter was talking to me yesterday, he said, sooner or later I might have to look at that pitch and look to pull it. Well, he did that on the pitch before. Then he went back to his philosophy and said, I got to get a base hit somehow here.
There's a roller up to third, charging hard. Chavez throws backhanded to end the inning. They believe Chavez deserves a Gold Glove for his work at third base this season. After 3.5, pitching reigning supreme in Oakland. Bottom of the fourth inning, Miguel Tejada to lead things off for the A's against Mike Messina, and it's ball one down and in. Tejada bounced out to the third baseman Brocious, his only time up. Tejada 31 home runs during the regular season to break his own franchise record for a shortstop. He knocked in 115 runs last year, 113 this year. 1-1.
Those are pretty impressive and consistent power numbers, productive numbers for shortstops, and he's one of the guys that's very underrated at that position and very rarely gets talked about when you talk about the top shortstops in the league.
Low and away. Get a look at three of the shortstops in the American League and what they've done over the last 2 years. Tejada a lower batting average than A-Rod or Derek Jeter. Sandwiched in between as far as home runs and knocking on the door of Rodriguez and runs batted in. In the air, left field. Shy of the warning track and on the warning track. Knobloch over to get it, one away.
Now Tejada right there knows that he just missed that one. That's the kind of at bat you have when you have some power. You know it gets in on your hands. You know you didn't get it well enough to get it out of the park. Good balance, just a tad bit late. But he's looking at it right now saying, maybe if I just blow on it hard enough, I can push it out of the ballpark. Hoping that it'll go out of there, but he knew he didn't get enough of it to get it out.
Now Jason Giambi struck out on 3 pitches against Messina, ending the first inning. And a fastball is high. Up and down the Oakland batting order. Players with very good career numbers against Messina. Not the case for Jason Giambi. We asked Messina about it yesterday. He said, I had no idea. I don't know if I believe in that.
Yeah. Said, I don't know what his numbers are against me. I think he does. I also think that Messina is one of those guys that really pitches to his strengths rather than the other guy's weaknesses, though, too. He knows what he has to do. He knows what he can do. I don't know that he really notices the next hitter that comes to the plate as much as he knows what he wants to do with each guy when he gets there.
And you may be asking, well, what are the numbers? 7 of 33 is Jason Giambi against Messina. Has never homered against the former Oriole turned New York Yankee. Look out here. A 3-1 count. Neither team with a base hit through the first 3.5 innings of play. Anything close, and Giambi's coming out of his shoes.
He might be sitting on something off speed here. I can feel the wind back here after that cut. talked to Giambi yesterday, and he said, you know, my conversations with Barry Bonds, he said, we're very much the same with the way we get pitched to in the lineup. He says, if I miss the one mistake during an at-bat that I can hit, I'm in trouble because they'll either walk me or else it gets very tough. They start throwing stuff in the dirt to me when I get 2 strikes.
There's a base hit into center field by Giambi, the first hit for either team in the game tonight. Right now, let's go back to our studios in Los Angeles. Here's Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, Tom, like the Yankees, the Cardinals were also on the brink of elimination today, using the long ball to fight off the Diamondbacks. Bottom 2, Jim Edmonds with a home run on Friday. Another one today. Bottom 3, Fernando Vina follows the lead. The Cardinals tie up the series. They're off to Arizona. Game 5, presented by Budweiser, tomorrow on Fox.
We'll look forward to that one. Curt Schilling against Matt Morris. Schilling outdueled Morris in game 1, winning 1-0. Here's Jermaine Dye with 1 on and 1 out, and Dye a base hit into left field. Giambi advances on to second, and here come the A's. 2 on and only 1 out.
Well, this sort of illustrates what we talked about with Derek Jeter playing double play depth. Obviously going to be a little closer to second base anyway. And that's a bullet hit right there. Jeter can't quite get to it, but Jeter does not go to his right nearly as well as he can go to his left because of the bad hamstring. That ball was pretty much smoked, so I don't know if he could have gotten it anyway.
Now Chavez with 2 on and 1 out. First pitch swinging, he had a hearty cut and fouls it straight back. The A's are 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position in the series.
And that's terrible. We know that, but we'd be talking a lot more about it if they were down 2-0 rather than up 2-0. When I played baseball for Boston, Walt Reniak was the hitting instructor there. He said, I'll take men left in scoring position all day long because I know sooner or later we'll knock them in.
Down the right field line, but foul. Messina got away with one there, but at the end of the swing, it's just a loud strike.
This is a great job by Posada to come out and talk to Messina because he's made a few mistakes over the last couple hitters. That's a fastball out over the middle of the plate. Watch the balance here. He just gets out in front of this just a little bit. He hits it just out in front of where he wanted to. Now, that's a pretty nice power stroke right there. The mistake. Two mistakes in a row to Giambi, and he got a base hit. A ball out over the middle of the plate to Dye with a base hit, and then that ball right there that just got hammered. Messina's got to start getting back to the corners.
Comes way inside. 1 and 2 on Chavez. The A's have had runners all over the bases in this series, but still without a hit with runners in scoring position. 0 for 19. In the air down the left field line, slicing foul and out of play. And the A's were a very good hitting team with runners in scoring position on the year. They hit .273, which was 5th best in the American League. But of course, they weren't having to face Clemens, Pettit, and Messina every night.
This A's organization was willing to give Chavez a lot of time to mature as a hitter. They always knew he could catch the ball. They said it would take a while to hit.
On the ground, down to first. Martinez goes to second. They get one, and no throw on the return with Messina covering the bag by Jeter. So a fielder's choice by Chavez. Giambi advances on to third, 2 gone.
Chavez is a guy whose numbers have improved every season. Power numbers, RBIs, and average, all of them up each of his 3 seasons. The 30 home runs this season. He's getting to be the type of hitter that they hoped he could, but much quicker than they thought he would.
Runners on the corners. 2 away, no score in the bottom of the 4th inning. And a breaking ball at the knees to Jeremy Giambi, strike 1. Jeremy trying to knock in his brother Jason, who leads down at third. Over at first, it's Chabet. Look at these numbers. What they've done with the bases empty in this series, hitting 4 home runs. And what they've done with runners on base. Good save there by Posada on the breaking ball in the dirt. A ball and a strike on Jeremy Giambi. The A's trying to jump in front yet again. They have never fallen behind in the first 2 games of this series. Two and one. Giambi trying to change that goose egg. Messina delivers. Too low.
Messina wanted that pitch. You see him stare in at the home plate umpire after that. Posada's sitting away. The reason why he didn't get this call here is Posada has to reach back over to catch it. Wasn't the location he wanted.
And I got to be honest, they're really nitpicking around here with Jeremy Giambi, who's had trouble against Messina. Long's on deck, and he's worn Messina out. On the ground, back up through the middle. Soriano jumps, but has time to throw out Jeremy Giambi, and that'll end the inning. So Messina barking at the home plate umpire Kerwin Danley over a couple of close pitches, but Messina able to get out of the inning. We go to the 5th. No score. Barry Zito is not allowed to hit through the first 4 innings. No score as we're set to start the 5th. It'll be Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada, and Shane Spencer due up for New York. Martinez hit with the first pitch of the inning, and that one hammered foul. 0-1. Martinez hit leading off the 2nd inning. It's been a big-time season for Martinez. 34 home runs. The 3rd time in his career he's hit 30 or more homers. 2nd time as a Yankee after a disappointing 2000 campaign, and many well aware that Martinez is a free agent at season's end. Well, I tell you, this guy's been a good player for the Yankees. I know they're all talking about Jason Giambi and whether or not maybe they'll go out and try to pursue him. I mean, that's all the talk, all the rumors and so forth, but Tino's been a pretty darn good player for a long time.
Yes, he has been an excellent player, and in Tino's defense of where he plays next year, if the Yankees aren't offering the type of deal, I don't think they're going to offer him the type of deal that's going to want to make him stay here, even if they don't go out and get somebody else. The Baltimore Orioles very interested in him. Tino's going to probably command upwards of the $10 million mark from what I'm hearing from the Baltimore area for 3 or 4 seasons. Brian Cashman, the GM of the Yankees, may not be willing to do that, sitting next to Reggie Jackson. Of course, Rick Cerrone, the PR director of the Yankees as well. Reggie with the New York Police Department hat on.
Of course, Brian Cashman doesn't know if he's coming back to be able to sit across the table from Tino Martinez to talk about a contract. Well, isn't that hard to believe? I mean, it's never me to tell anybody how to run their business, but to think that Brian Cashman, the general manager, and Joe Torre, the manager, winners of 4 of the last 5 World Series, including the last 3. And Joe told us before the game, it looks real good. His contract's going to get done. But it's hard to believe that you'd be talking about the manager of the New York Yankees with all that they've done over the last 5 years on October the 13th, and he doesn't have a contract.
And Cashman as well, job security. How can it not be secure in their situations? But George likes to have guys on pins and needles. He likes them to go out there and earn their paycheck every year.
3-2 to Martinez. Lined into center field, right at Damon. Hardest hit ball of the night for the Yankees. We asked Barry Zito, now that his team is up 2-0, have they become the hunted rather than the hunter?
I think it might be like that just because we went out and we played them so well the first 2 games. And, you know, they're really raring to get us now instead of the opposite, and maybe how it was for us coming into the series is, you know, these are the big Yanks and we got to take them out and this and that. And, you know, we were kind of the underdog and stuff like that. So I think to an extent, you know, I mean, if you're down 2-0 in a series, regardless of the circumstance, you know, you're fired up. You want to get going. You want to at least get back in the series 2-1.
And that's exactly the way Joe Torre said it. All they're thinking about is winning this game. Worry about tomorrow. The A's would rather have a day off tomorrow. That one launched into deep left center field. And it is gone. A solo home run into left field by Jorge Posada. So the scoreless streak ends at 15 innings for the Yankees. And New York a 1-0 lead.
Well, Posada told me yesterday that he was going to do the same thing. He tried to look for one pitch and try to get the fastball on the inside part of the plate and hope that he'd miss out over the middle with it enough for him to get a good swing at one.
Well, the Yankees have their first lead of the series, and this one's smoked down the left field line by Spencer. And he's on his way to second base with a 1-out double. Well, all of a sudden, 3 hard hit balls in the inning against Zito. The liner to center by Martinez, the homer by Posada, and now a double by Spencer.
Well, here's the Posada home run that we talked about. Look at the location of this ball. Right down dead central. Posada has become, you know, really a mainstay in this Yankee organization behind the plate after it took so long when Joe Girardi and he were splitting time. He's happy about hitting that one. That one, it was a mistake by Zito, left out over the middle of the plate.
Posada hit 22 home runs during the regular season. The first hit of the game, the first run of the game for the Yankees. That one lined into center field, and Damon's got it, has to go into the air. Well, the Yankees not fooling around here in the 5th. They're hacking early, hacking often, and hitting it right on the screws.
Well, you get to the point in the game when a guy will start to make an adjustment on what you're doing as far as the pitcher is concerned, and the pitcher has to make another adjustment back. And if you fall into patterns and guys start thinking that they're going to see the same pitch in certain situations, then you have to change your pattern as a pitcher.
Now Brocious with 2 down. Spencer in scoring position. Fastball to knees on the outside corner. The Yankees obviously have not done much offensively. Only 1 of 12 with runners in scoring position in the series. Popped up short center. Damon on to get it, and that'll end the inning, but not before the Yankees strike first. They were no hit by Zito through 4 1/3, and then this 1-0 New York.
The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By KFC, there's fast food, then there's KFC. And by Star Wars Episode 1 on DVD, October 16th.
Welcome back to Oakland, 1-0. The Yankees in front on the solo home run by Jorge Posada. So now Mike Messina, given the 1-run lead, he'll be facing the latter third in the batting order, and it starts with Terrence Long. Long homer twice in the A's Game 1 win. In the air, foul territory, and that one is unreachable for Brocious. 1-1.
There's a home runs you talked about in game 1, right down the line. He gets it out of there, just snuck it over the fence, and then not a whole lot of question about that one. He hammered it. Really got the A's going in New York City to try to quiet that crowd down, but that usually doesn't work. Not in New York.
Well, they were rocking right to the final out in game 2 when the Yankees threatened against Jason Isringhausen but could not cash in. Two and one.
Remember last year, Terrence Long was the leadoff hitter on this ball club. 2 home run postseason games. You just see Long right up there for the rest of the guys here in a A's uniform that did it. That man right there, Reggie Jackson, on the list as well.
In the air down the left field line, coming on is Knobloch. Jeter going out. And Jeter runs it down in fair territory, 1 away. Messina, 32 years old, the native Pennsylvanian, after pitching brilliantly for the last 9 years in Baltimore, signed as a free agent to come to New York during the offseason. And Hernandez down a strike. His 160 wins over the last 10 seasons, the 4th most in the majors during that span, behind only Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine in Atlanta and Randy Johnson in Arizona.
Well, with Messina, you can pretty much pencil in 16 to 20 every year. He's one of those guys that everybody talks about who never really gets enough run support no matter where he's playing.
Foul back out of play. You think hitters are starting to see it a little bit better now as nighttime is closing in? We're still probably a good 45 minutes away from being completely dark.
Yeah, when you talk about when you play the game, certainly the darker it is outside, to let the lights take effect is the best situation. I would rather play at night than in the daytime, even though they say that the light only shines on the top half of the ball, so you really only see half of it. I thought it was tougher to see in the daytime with the glare and the brightness.
Breaking ball, strike 3 at the knees, and Hernandez is gone looking. And we're taking a look at our MasterCard fan cam. Over 56,000 here in Oakland tonight.
We saw him out there before the game when we got here 4.5 hours before the game, tailgating. Some of them tailgating without a tailgate. Right. They just set up camp in the middle of the parking lot. No car sitting there.
That's some good tunage. Ball 1 high to Frank Menachino. Yeah, I mean, they didn't have to wait in line for him to open the parking lot because they didn't have a car.
We literally saw people waiting in line to open up the parking lot so they could get a good parking space. Forget about the seat you're sitting in.
Fouled out of play. Only 2 hits against Messina. And they came back-to-back in the 4th inning by Jason Giambi and Jermaine Dye. They're here every night. Breaking ball and a dandy. Messina throws that knuckle curve. He'll throw everything at you.
Just watch where that thing starts and where it finishes. Menachino looking at that thing saying, there's just no way I can hit it. We are seeing 2 of the best curveballs in the game between Messina and Zito today.
Comes with a high fastball, and Menachino gone swinging. 4 strikeouts for Messina. We go to the 6th, 1-0 Yankees.
The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Charles Schwab. Expert advice that's objective, uncomplicated, and not driven by commission.
Top half of the 6th inning we go, and you get a look at the brackets. Atlanta already sweeping Houston in the National League. They'll go to Game 5 tomorrow in Arizona. The Cardinals and the Diamondbacks. Cleveland a surprising 2-1 lead over Seattle. And a surprise to many, not a surprise to some others, that Oakland would have a 2-0 lead over the Yankees. I mean, a lot of people west of the Mississippi out in this Pacific time zone, some in the Mountain time zone that see the A's play a lot, are not surprised at all that they are leading the 3-time defending world champions.
Was that our October Madness bracket?
That's it.
Right there. I like that. Well, this is an inning right here where Zito has to regain his control and his composure as far as the strike zone is concerned. You don't want to start off throwing balls out over the middle of the plate to the top of the lineup of the Yankees.
Crowd back out of play by Knobloch, and it stays at 0-2. Knobloch reached on an error by the shortstop Tejada, leading off the game, and then he popped up to Giambi. Tardy on a 3-2 fastball, ending the 3rd inning.
Yeah, I think if you're Chuck Knobloch in this situation, or the situation he had last time, Zito doesn't want to walk you.
Short center field, Damon on to get it. Easy play.
Well, he gets to a 3-2 count, I think more times than not, a guy like Knobloch's going to see a fastball to hit. Make him put the ball in play. If there's any indecision and you're late on a 3-2 fastball, then there should be something wrong there. You might even say to yourself, hey, if it's anything else, if it's a breaking ball, I'm either going to be out in front of it and swing at it, or I'm going to take it. It might be strike 3, but I have to sit dead red in that situation.
Soriano popped up to Giambi, trying to bunt in the 1st inning after Knobloch had reached safely on the Tejada error. And then Soriano struck out swinging in the 4th. Boy, what a fabulous looking young player Alfonso Soriano is. Stole 43 bases. That one popped up.
You can swing me that one if you want.
Giambi again, 2 away.
Zito coming back out and reestablishing his command. This is the guy that I think he should be very careful with. We talked about making adjustments. From what Jeter told me yesterday about with the way he is going to have to start approaching some of the at-bats, the way they're trying to get in on him. If he starts looking in, we all know that Jeter's got the kind of power to go out of the park to left field. Zito did a great job of mixing it up last time, going in and away. Started off away and then went back inside to Jeter.
They start him away with a fastball. He was leaning out there a little bit. Strike 1. Jeter is popped up to right, lined out softly to Menachino at second, and gets hit with a pitch. Well, hopefully Jeter's going to be all right. That was a fastball that ran way in on him. Not sure where it got him. The hand, forearm, elbow. What do you think?
I think it got him right off the hand. And Jeter looked lazy as far as trying to get out of the way on that ball. It looked like he almost said, okay, this ball's up, I'm going to take it. But watch, it doesn't look like he's really trying real hard to get out of the way. Lazy, kind of, let me just get out of the way. Didn't really jump back off of it. That ball just kind of, it's the kind of ball as a hitter you say, get off me. Listen to the way it sounds. Right off the hand area, right below the pinky. Yeah, Jeter kind of shook it off like a mosquito landed on it.
Tough guy. What a ball player. Thing you love to hear, our conversation with Don Zimmer yesterday, said this guy has not changed since day one. Still works as hard as he did when he was a first-year player. Bernie Williams takes time. We've seen so many examples of guys go the other way. Big city, lot of money, good looking, single, the whole 9 yards, and things go straight south. Not with Jeter.
Well, the thing about Jeter is you just never, ever hear a bad word about the guy. So Jeter trying to peek in to see if he can't steal a sign from Hernandez. lot of good base stealers will take their lead. They get to the point where they can feel comfortable, and then they peek in to see if the catcher will show them anything behind the plate as to either what sign they're calling or how they're setting up back there. Jeter would love to run on a breaking ball, that big curve ball. If he gets a jump, that's the pitch you want to run on. You see him peeking back to the catcher to see what he can learn.
Jeter 27 stolen bases during the regular season in 30 attempts. Zito has fallen behind Bernie Williams 2-0 and a hearty lead over there, and Zito will send him back to the bat. The Yankees stole 161 bases this year. I mean, they're not one of these lumbering American League teams, station to station, and stand around and wait for the home run ball.
Second in the American League in stolen bases. Jeter at 27 on the year.
2-1.
27 with a bad leg. He's had a bad hamstring for a good part of the season. Torrey says that he'll still steal a base every once in a while now. He'll go first to third, but he's just smart about it. He knows how far to push it. He doesn't want to blow it out again because that's a major problem for the Yankees.
Two and one to Bernie Williams, who struck out and grounded out to Chavez at third base.
Jeter's looking for any advantage to maybe get a chance to steal a base. This team has been trying to get to the point where they can be aggressive. Haven't had any leads. Now they have that. They want to keep the pressure on Zito. Zito does not have a great move for a left-hander.
Fastball up, 3-1. Martinez in the on-deck circle was hit by a pitch his first time up, but he lined out hard to Damon in center field in the fifth. Williams has not made contact, at least none to speak of, in 2 at-bats so far. We'll see what's happening on the 3-1. Runner goes. Fouled back out of play.
I think that play was more like a run and hit. Certainly we know what a hit and run is, where you have to steal the base and the guy has to swing the bat. Run and hit situation, to want the guy in motion if he can run, but the hitter does not have to swing the bat. If it's not a good pitch to hit, it ends up being ball 4 and you're out first. If you can take the chance, you see a good pitch to hit, put it in play, and then you got a lot of guys in motion then.
3-2 to Bernie Williams. Jeter will get started with a pitch.
Especially with 2 strikes, Bernie's very good at shooting this ball over towards the second baseman, especially if he's covering.
Good at bat by Williams, and he draws a walk. So Zito putting himself in big-time trouble. He easily retired Knobloch and Soriano to begin the inning. Then he hit Jeter, and now he walks Williams, and here comes Tino.
Rick Peterson out to have a little chat with Zito to make sure they know exactly how they want to pitch to Tino.
Before the home run by Posada here tonight in the 5th inning, the Yankees had not scored since the 8th inning in Game 1. Off the bat of Tino Martinez.
What a great year he had for this team, and as you mentioned earlier, I mean, for the run that they've had, and he's always been the mainstay at first base.
2 on, 2 out. Breaking ball and a beauty by Zito, strike 1.
Well, this is no fun to hit when you're a left-hander. Big long arm curve. That ball looks like it's coming out from behind you somewhere. Can't hit what you don't see. A lot of times you say that about a fastball. Not in this case.
0-1. Another breaking ball, and just like that, Zito ahead, 0-2. Well, every pitch becoming so critical now. Because the way these two pitchers are going tonight, you figure it's going to be very hard for somebody to score 3, 2 maybe. You fall behind 3-0, you could be in big-time trouble if you're the A's.
Huge at-bat right here. Zito probably want to change his eye angle here. Throw a different pitch than the curve so he's not sitting on one.
Blocked by Hernandez, who lost it momentarily, and neither runner will advance. It's a little bit different breaking ball there.
Yeah, threw it away from him, but still a breaking ball. The fear is, as a pitcher, you throw me a couple breaking balls in a row, I keep seeing them. Maybe I fouled one off. I took the first one, I fouled the next one off. I keep seeing that. I get a better view at it. Maybe blow a fastball up and in or away from him, change the eye angle of the hitter, and then go back to the pitch that you don't think you can hit, which is the curveball. You keep throwing them up there. Of course, the opposite theory is you keep throwing them until the guy proves he can hit one, but now is not the time for him to hit one.
Breaking ball is sweeping away from Martinez rather than the big yacker, as they call it in baseball circles. It comes right at Martinez and breaks over the heart of the plate. Big pitch right here. Zito does not want to go to 3-2. There was the big breaking ball. Grounded towards Giambi, inning over. 2 men left. The Yankees have stranded 4, but lead Zito and the A's with the top of the order coming up by a run. Welcome back to Oakland. Game 3 in this American League Division Series. The A's in front 2-0. The Yankees lead here tonight 1-0. Top of the order against Messina. Strike 1 to Johnny Damon.
Could be a turning point type inning for the Oakland A's with the top of their order coming up. Starting to get late in the game, but behind in this game 1-0. Need your leadoff hitter on base.
Caught on a line drive by Brocious. He was playing in on the grass. And a rocket right to him, and he was able to hang on. Big play right there.
A great reaction by Brocious. This ball hitting a bullet. 1 step and a jump. A lot of times they talk about 1 step and a dive for a third baseman. Pretty much figure out why he won the Gold Glove in 1999.
Well, the Yankees making all the plays defensively so far here tonight. And now Tejada. Fastball high. Giambi standing in the on-deck circle. Messina has only allowed 2 base hits. 1-1 to Tejada. Giambi, a 1-out single in the 4th. He moved to second on a single by the next hitter, Jermaine Dye. But then Messina with 2 on and 1 out got Chavez on a fielder's choice and Jeremy Giambi on a ground ball to Soriano to end the inning. Popped up and playable for Soriano. 2 away.
Messina's pitching such a great game, and we've seen both of these pitchers break off some filthy breaking balls, but at the same time Messina's throwing a lot of fastballs here. He's beating the A's right now with great location. He's spotting the fastball in and out, up and down, using the breaking ball just to get the hitters off their timing a little bit. But a lot of fastballs, a lot of overhand fastballs from Messina.
The one mistake made by Zito, the solo home run by Jorge Posada in the 5th inning. And here's a guy that's certainly capable of tying it with one big swing of the bat. 0-1 to Giambi. Field line, a long run for Knobloch, crossing, sliding into foul territory, and Knobloch got it. So Giambi retired to end the inning. We've played 6 in Oakland. You're watching Fox Sports, home of the 2001 World Series. We're back after a message from your local Fox station. A nice play made by Chuck Knobloch, ending the bottom half of the 6th inning. So on we go to the 7th. Posada, who accounted for the only run of the game his last time up in the 5th. Ball 1 low and away. One run, 2 hits for the Yankees. No runs, 2 hits for Oakland. 2-0.
Last inning is, or 5th inning. Posada's last at bat, the home run there. Zito knew that he left one out over the middle of the plate. Good hitters hit those balls a long way.
2-1. Rolled over the pitch away from him, did Posada. Even the count of 2-2. He'll be followed by Shane Spencer and then Randy Velarde. Breaking ball bounced off the plate up the first base line, but foul. Well, the wind beginning to kick up a little bit here in Oakland. Here's that play by Knobloch.
Yeah, let's check it out. And let's look at how far he ran to catch this ball. And, you know, normally I don't like guys that make slide catches, but that's the place you do it when you're running up against a wall and there's a chance that you could dive right into the wall. Look at Knobloch as he gets into foul territory. He gets up close to that wall, just shoestrings that ball. You see a lot of outfielders come in and make slide catches when I think they don't have to. You should dive for the ball if you're gonna do that.
Two-hopper at Tejada, fields deep in the hole and shows off that strong arm of his. One away. Well, why would a ball be easier to catch if you're diving than if you're sliding?
It's just a more natural action to dive for the ball and catch it. Guys don't do it anymore because they're afraid of getting hurt. Afraid you might hurt your elbow or your shoulder when you're diving, so now they slide on balls. It's a much tougher play to make that way, and it's not as effective either. When you dive for the ball, you can reach much further to try to catch a sinking line drive than you can if you're sliding, because you're technically pulling yourself back away from the ball and catching the ball on your waist.
High fastball, and Spencer went after it. 1-1.
Doesn't hurt as bad when you slide and miss one, or you know, if you dive and catch a ball, it doesn't hurt. You dive and miss, it hurts a little bit more.
Spencer struck out against Zito in the 2nd inning, doubled down the left field line in the 5th, was stranded at 2nd when the inning came to an end. There is Torrey getting Spencer the start in right field. Velarde the DH tonight. Justice and Paul O'Neill. O'Neill especially a warrior. Since coming from Cincinnati in the Roberto Kelly trade in November of '92, will sit and watch.
Potentially be his last game ever as a Yankee. Or anything else for that matter. O'Neill talked all year long saying that he was going to retire after the season. Had another solid season for the Yankees. Talked to him yesterday and he said, you know what, I'm just tired of waking up every morning not knowing if something isn't going to work.
Gone swinging is Spencer. Let's go to Jeannie Zelasco. Hi, Jeannie.
Hello, Tom. Seattle may have the most regular season wins, but just one to show for their postseason efforts. Jim Thome with a solo shot just wanted a season-high 17 runs scored by Cleveland. And now the Tribe have the edge. Meantime, the NLDS, it comes down to this. A clincher Game 5 between the Cards and D-backs. The showdown brought to you by Budweiser Sunday on Fox.
Can't wait for that game tomorrow night here on Fox. Man, what a ball game that should be. Very similar to this game, you figure. I mean, these two guys tonight, each won 17. Those two guys each won 22.
Pretty good year.
Yeah. 0-1 to Velarde. Big breaking ball in there, a strike. Zito is fan 4. He's tied a division series record by hitting 2 batters. He's walked a batter. Allowed 1 run and only 2 base hits.
Amazing poise for a kid that's 23 years old.
Did he go? They appeal, and they said he didn't go around. Well, now that's a huge break right there for the Yankees. I don't know how in the world you can say he didn't go around.
Well, he starts to swing at it, and then he knows that it's going to hit him, or he's trying to get out of the way. There's a little, and then he just spins his body around. Did a pretty good job of holding up on that. Think Zito wanted the call?
1-2 on Velarde. And inside, of course, Zito and Velarde, teammates last season. Velarde did a solid job for this Oakland club at second base when healthy enough to play.
Getting up there in age, too. Still in excellent shape. Was hitting about 300 for Texas when they made the deal for him. Has not had a lot of success with the Yankees.
Still 2-2.
Why did that take you such, a delayed reaction on the 2-2 call there? You had to get up from underneath the desk again, didn't you? Because you thought that foul ball was going to hit you.
Dude, this seat only moves so fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here it comes. Rolled foul of the third base line.
These Yankee hitters are just battling against that breaking ball and then hoping to work the count until they can get a fastball out over the plate to hit. That guy got one.
Again, a 2-2 to Velarde. Breaking ball, strike 3, and that'll end the inning. 1-2-3 for Zito. He's fanned 5. They stand and stretch in Oakland. Zito locking up with Messina. 1-0 New York.
The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Wendy's Bacon Mushroom Milk. When you gotta have one, you gotta have one. And by Nissan. Nissan introduces the totally new V6 Ultima, the cure for the common car.
Bottom half of the 7th inning, we go in Oakland. 1-0 Yankees in front. We look ahead to tomorrow and a couple of different scenarios. If the Yankees win here tonight, on Fox Family beginning at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, Seattle at Cleveland, Game 4 from Jacobs Field. They're on Fox at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Game 4 of this series between the Yankees and the A's. And we've told you St. Louis and Arizona for sure, no matter what, is going to be on at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, right here on Fox, presented by Budweiser. Now, if the A's pull off the 3-game sweep, we'll have a doubleheader on Fox. Seattle and Cleveland at 4. Arizona hosting St. Louis, 7:30 Eastern. Corey Lytle will get the ball, not win, but lose for the A's should they do so tonight. Lytle not much talked about in this A's rotation, but he had a solid year, and Orlando Hernandez, pronounced healthy enough by Joe Torre, and El Duque would be here tomorrow.
Of course, Lytle will get the ball either way, because if the A's sweep this series, they're going to send Lytle to the Arizona Fall League to get a start in, just to stay fresh.
Thanks for covering for me, big fella. I appreciate it. Jermaine Dye to lead things off here in the Oakland 7th. Mike Messina. Hard to believe that he could be a number 3 starter for anybody. Guy the ace his entire career in Baltimore, and he has pitched like a number 1 starter here tonight.
We're getting out of Messina exactly what we thought we were going to get. The pinpoint control, varying the pitches, location, where he wants it, anytime.
One to die. Popped up. Behind the mound, Jeter tucks it away, 1 gone. Take a look at our game summary brought to you by Nissan. Both pitchers have been fabulous. Messina, 1 pitch better.
just unbelievable pitching that we've been seeing in the series and all throughout baseball in this playoffs. Posada with the big home run. Giambi and Dye 2 for 6. The A's need to get something going offensively.
Chavez 0 for 2. He takes on the outside corner a strike. Chavez 1 of 11 in the series. He came up there with 2 on and 1 out in the 4th inning and bounced into a fielder's choice. Oh, and 2 just like that.
And that's a big long swing. A lot of times we talk about trying to stay inside the ball. That swing right there, he went way out around the ball, tried to pull a pitch that was outside and away from him.
Now a lot of options for Messina. Left one out over the plate. Found straight back by Chavez.
Messina's done a great job of keeping the hitters off balance, but the Oakland A's have not done a good job of what Giambi told me before against Messina. You have to hit his mistakes. Jermaine Dye saw a pitch in his at-bat right there that he should have hit harder and popped it up. That pitch right there was a good pitch to hit for Chavez.
Still 0-2. Chris Messina near perfect back on September the 2nd at Fenway Park. Came within 1 out of recording what would have been just the 16th perfect game in Major League history. Broken up by a 2-out pinch hit single off the bat of Carl Everett in the bottom of the 9th inning. Turned it over there on Chavez, and it's 1-2.
When you think of Messina throwing a perfect game, the two thoughts don't enter your mind very often. Much the same way Roger Clemens often says that he doesn't think he'll throw a no-hitter because both of these guys throw too many strikes. They're around the plate too much. They don't get up and in on guys. They don't waste time. So they figure they're going to give up some hits during the game.
In the air, short left center field. Ernie Williams now coming in a few paces, 2 up, 2 down. For Messina, it turned out to be his 4th career 1-hitter. It also marked the 4th time in his career that he had taken a no-hitter into the 8th inning. And that's the most by any active pitcher who has never thrown a no-hitter. So he's danced around it. Here's Jeremy Giambi. Base hit through the hole in the right field. And now comes Terrence Long. Long struck out against Messina in the 2nd inning. Messina got him to pop up to short in the 5th. But coming in, Long was a .500 hitter in his career against the Yankee right-hander.
Well, one of the reasons is because Long's a pretty good fastball hitter. We talked a lot about tonight how Messina's throwing you the fastball. He's got the other pitches. The knuckle curve that's been very effective. The straight curveball, if you want to call it that. Change up, but he's throwing a lot of fastballs, and Long's a good fastball hitter.
Off-speed pitch on the outside corner, a strike. Wasn't going to give him that first pitch fastball.
Talked earlier in the game about the ability of both of these teams maybe to manufacture runs, considering that the pitching matchup that we're seeing tonight, the pitching matchups that we've seen both in Game 1 and Game 2, not a lot of offense. Who could find a way to eke out a run?
And that's why, I don't know about you, Steve, but it does not surprise me at all to see that the Yankees are much better in one-run decisions this year than Oakland. Fastball just off the corner. I mean, if Oakland gets involved further in the playoffs, should the A's advance? If they're in 1-1 games, tight games, I think they have a hard time winning games because they never play small ball, ever. In 1-run games this year, they're only 2 games over 500. The Yankees are 12 over. Now, of course, Seattle's maybe the best small ball team in baseball, at least among American League clubs, and they had an unbelievable year. But they can beat you that way. Oakland has never proven they can beat you that way.
Seattle has a National League type style. Art Howe will look you dead in the eye and say, hey, we're an American League team. We're patient at the plate. We don't hit and run a lot. We don't steal a lot of bases because we want to make you work for your outs. We're not going to run into an out. In that situation, we want to make you throw a lot of pitches.
And I don't think anybody should be fooled here. Cleveland can play some small ball on you, too.
Yes,
I mean, when you got guys like Vizquel and guys like Robbie Alomar and Kenny Lofton, I mean, there you get a look at the numbers. The Yankees, 12 games, over 500 in one-run affairs.
Well, you have Johnny Damon on this team that's going to steal you a lot of bases. There he is, but if he's not on base, he can't steal. Giambi on first base right now doesn't have a stolen base the entire season, so you're not going to run. You're not going to hit and run. You got to wait for a gapper.
That is fair down the right field line. Giambi on his way to third, and they're going to wave him around. The throw misses a cutoff man. Shot into the plate. Out of the plate. Derek Jeter with one of the most unbelievable plays you will ever see by a shortstop. Both cutoff men were missed. Jeter coming down the line, fielded with his bare hand, a shovel to Posada, and Giambi is out. What an unbelievable play by Jeter. Still 1-0 Yankees. Wow. Well, Derek Jeter not ready to go home quite yet. His team down 2-0. First pitch swinging in the air to short left field. And Brocious retired. That's as good a play as a guy can make.
Tommy, this is unbelievable. First, Shane Spencer does a pretty good job of digging it out of the corner. Then he misses the cutoff man. Jeter comes out of nowhere, grabs the ball with a little shovel pass into Posada. Posada makes the play. This could have been tough on Spencer. Now he airmails everybody. Look at Jeter. What is he even doing over there? He shovel passes it over there like he's the quarterback for the University of Michigan. And then Posada putting the tag. Looks like he gets him on the inside of his right knee. Maybe or maybe not. Definitely touched him on his left knee. Kerwin Danley right on top of that play. My problem with that play right there is you got to slide here. You have to slide. This makes it a much tougher call for Kerwin Danley at home plate. Does he get him right there on that knee before his foot touches the ground?
Kerwin Danley was right on it.
He's right on it, and if I'm the umpire in that situation and it's that close and you don't slide, I'm ringing you up.
Well, isn't somebody there supposed to be telling him to slide? You know, get down maybe
next
in the
hitter.
background. Fly ball off the bat of Knobloch into left center and long. Squeezes it 2 away.
You asked for it, Tommy. You get it. Let's see the on-deck hitter right here. That's Hernandez saying, get down, get down. Unbelievable. Jeter. Look at this play. It's like an option quarterback. Jeter has no business even being anywhere near that play. Just used his instincts. Came flying into the play. Reminds me a lot of the play that he made in the World Series against the Mets last year, where he was down the third base line, spun and threw Timo Perez out at home plate on a ball that Perez wasn't running on. He thought it was a home run ball.
What does Jeter always seem to just step up when his team needs him most? There are players, and then there are special players. Special players, maybe only 2, 3 in a generation, that when on the biggest stage, they play and deliver the biggest moments. And Jeter's one of those guys. I don't think there's any debate about it.
Jeter turned a mistake by Spencer throwing it over everybody into a great play that kept this game at a 1-run lead for the Yankees. You could be talking about a totally different situation if he scores.
Still 1-0 as the A's bat in the bottom of the 8th.
Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Energizer. Do you have the bunny inside? By Autotrader.com, the biggest, best used car site on the planet. And by the Intel Pentium 4 processor, the center of your digital world.
Leading off for Oakland.
Oakland batting in the bottom of the 8th inning. Joe Torre told us if he had a lead late, he wouldn't be afraid to turn it over to Mariano Rivera for 2 innings, and why should he be? 15 of Rivera's 19 career postseason saves have been in appearances longer than 1 inning.
He doesn't generally like to do that with Rivera, but he also knows that Rivera can handle it if he has to.
Rivera's not only been one of the greatest postseason relief pitchers, he's been one of the best postseason pitchers, period, in the history of the game. But now he tries to protect Messina's 1-0 lead. Olmedo signs will bat for Ramon Hernandez here in the Oakland 8th. Fastball high.
Tommy, I don't disagree with this move at all. If you've got a guy like Rivera waiting down there, bring him in. But at the same time, Messina did such a nice job pitching against this Oakland A's team that they're looking at it right now saying, good, get him out of there. Let us see somebody different. Maybe Rivera doesn't have his good stuff today.
Those signs helping out Rivera there, chasing a high fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. What an effort by Messina. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs. He only walked 1 batter, struck out 4. Season for the Yankees. I mean, they're down 2 games to none. Joe Torre said we can't win 2 games in 1 game. We can't win all 3 games in 1 day. He said they're going to try and win inning by inning. And as you point out, who could blame him for giving the ball to Mariano Rivera with a 1-run lead in the 8th when you're trying to play another day? And you can tell Rivera a little out of whack. 3-1.
I like that last pitch up and into signs. No problem. Set up the other cutter. A lot of times he goes within a way with the cutter. Get a guy thinking up and in a little bit. And boy, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of pitchers in baseball that have tried to emulate Rivera's cutter and just can't get it done.
Hardy on a 3-1 pitch is signed. That one at 94 miles per hour from Rivera. Apparently the night is over for Barry Zito. Those are the postseason numbers for Rivera we were talking about.
Look at that number. Wow.
3-2. Lined in the right center field, but there is Spencer, 1 away. To remind you, go to MLB.com to bid on special autographed items and game used items currently up for auction to benefit the Disaster Relief Fund. Thank you for your help.
Greg Myers.
Left-handed hitting Greg Myers, who will stay in the game to catch, with Hernandez being taken down for a pinch hitter. Steps up there to bat for Menachino.
Myers is a guy who still has pretty good pop. Good pickup for this team to give Hernandez a few days off. Light a little fire under his play as well.
1-1 to Myers. So Mark Guthrie getting ready there. He'll come on apparently for Zito in the 9th inning. Zito only allowed 2 hits, but one of them a home run by Posada back in the 5th inning. 2-1 to Myers. Logan back into center field, a base hit for Myers. That sound of the broken bat. You figure it's not going to be hit very hard. That ball was hit pretty hard.
That ball got in on his hands a little bit, but Myers pretty strong. He shot it right back up the middle. Plus, you hit it in an area where it's like nowhere's land there. Jeter trying hard up the middle to try to get it. This ball isn't blistered, but you hit it in a spot where there's nobody standing.
This is the area where it really hurts a team only carrying 2 catchers in the playoffs.
No question about it, because as we talked about before, the ability to manufacture runs, the fact that when that ball was hit down the right field line last inning, you have Giambi running, no speed. Now you have Myers, a backup catcher, no speed. It's going to take a triple to score the guys. You don't have a guy that can you come in, pinch run for him, because you got no other catchers to go behind the plate.
0-1 to Johnny Damon, who's 0 for 3, lined out hard. Right at Brocious in the 6th inning.
Damon just 2 for 13 in his career off of Rivera, but you expect almost everybody that walks to the plate has those kind of numbers against Rivera.
Check swing, and did he go around? They appeal, yes, says Ron Culpo.
No question about this one. This is an attempt at the ball, plus the body turning, the bat out in front of himself. It's a swing.
So 0-2 to Damon. Myers a very short lead over at first. And the Yankees playing this no doubles infield defense. Of course, Martinez has to hold the runner on at first, but look at Brocious. I mean, if Rivera left anything out over the plate, it's easy for me to say, but Damon just put the bat on the ball.
And that's what he tried to do last time, and Brocious made the great play. A lot of times a team with a 1-0 lead on the road late in the game, you want to protect against the doubles. You put the corner infielders on the line. Make sure that nobody hits one down there.
Popped up and playable for Tino Martinez in foul territory. 2 away in the Oakland 8th inning.
Well, that's the pitch that Rivera's famous for. Watch this ball get up and in and just cut in on the hands. Late movement. Damon just flailing away at it and popping it up. Don't feel like the Lone Ranger. He does that to a lot of guys.
Now Tejada.
0 for 3 tonight. 0 for 6 lifetime against Rivera.
Two down, a man aboard. Tejada the go-ahead run at the plate. And he looks at ball 1 down low. And this is a man that Rivera is going to come after. Very little doubt about that. Tejada figures to get something good to hit with Giambi in the on-deck circle.
And that's what makes Tejada so scary with the 31 homers on the season. Cannot make a mistake out over to him.
That's an unhittable fastball right there.
That's sort of the opposite of a Greg Maddux fastball that will start it inside on the lefties and let it tail back. That one, he started inside on Tejada, raised his hands, thought he might get hit with the pitch or have it be too far inside, and it just cuts over the inside part of the plate.
1-1 on Miguel Tejada. Swings and fouls it away. So now Rivera, a chance to silence the A's here in the 8th inning. He'll worry about Giambi in the 9th. Field, knob block, got it into left center, and that'll end the inning. Tejada hit it right on the nose. But the A's leave the tying man aboard. And the Yankees watching that rope off the bat of Tejada. All is right in that dugout. They're hoping for 3 more outs. End of 8. The Yankees in front of the Athletics, 1-0. Barry Zito only allowed 2 hits, struck out 6, walked a man, allowed the home run to Posada. And he'll give way to left-hander Mark Guthrie.
Guthrie did a nice job for this team. Does give up a fair amount of hits. Doesn't walk that many guys. Keeps them in the ballgame.
A couple other changes. FP Santangelo takes over for Menachino at second. And an entirely new battery as Greg Myers remains in the game behind the plate. And Derek Jeter will lead it off for the Yankees. Jeter 0 for 2, hit by a pitch, but made the single biggest play of the night. He's down 0-1. In 1 fraction of a second, perhaps the difference between a season ender and a season continuer. I mean, if that run scores, you never know what happens after that.
Plus, you still have a guy on second base at least, and the inning continues. I mean, we've seen Jeter make some great plays. We've seen him do it in the postseason as well. We mentioned the play in the World Series against the Mets last year when he threw the guy out at home plate. Timo Perez.
In the air, straight away, center field.
But Tommy, the instincts involved in this one, just to have an eye for the ball, a nose for the ball. Here comes the throw from Spencer, and you look at the cutoff man, both Soriano and Tino way overthrown, and Jeter came from way over here to make that play, and then he just backhands it into Posada. You know, you just don't make that play. He has no business even being over there anywhere. You know, you always do a double cutoff. That's why Soriano and Tino are over there. Here he throws it over both of those guys' head. There's Tino right there trying to catch it. And Jeter comes from his position to make that play. Just a nose for the ball.
I mean, think of all the things that could have gone wrong for Jeter even after he got there. I mean, maybe he doesn't field it clean. Maybe his throw is 2 inches one way or the other to Posada on that shovel pass, that option pitch. And we're tied. But the guy makes the play.
Did Michigan recruit him to play some football? Because, you know, that's a sweet little option play.
Well, Schimbeck would drop the ball if he didn't. There's a liner in the center. 2 away.
And once again, I mean, you wouldn't even think of making a throw like that, but he knew that if he tried to catch it, turn and throw it the way you're supposed to throw it, you have no chance of getting the guy. He did whatever he had to do to get the ball to Posada as quickly as possible. Threw a strike, you get the out. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable play. There's a great angle right there of the possibility that Posada may not have tagged that front leg of Giambi. But as we mentioned before, that play is so close. And if you're the home plate umpire, if you're not going to make it easier for me to make the call by sliding, you should be out.
Inside of Tino Martinez, you figure Andy Pettitte is just down there getting loose in the Yankee bullpen. His day to throw in between starts. Pettitte may be forced to get the ball in Game 5 should this series go that far. Joe Torre said he just doesn't know physically if Roger Clemens would be ready after injuring the hamstring in Game 1.
Clemens pitches with his legs. That's where his power comes from. That's what's made him such a great success. And when he has leg injuries, he's had a history of growing problems, hamstrings. He's not the same guy.
It always makes you wonder when you see a guy getting loose in the bullpen. I mean, would they consider bringing him in for a batter? Of course, if you do that, you've taken Rivera out of the game. Huh? You figure no way. But we saw Miguel Batista, for example, come in and pitch Game 2 in Arizona against St. Louis in the playoffs. And then Batista started Game 3 and was terrific last night.
Well, Joe Torre said that Pettit is really the only guy on this staff that he considered bringing back on 3 days rest. So Pettit may have said, hey, if it's going to be a couple days before I have to go again anyway, and I've got to get some work on the side before I do that, I can get you one out. Nick. Pettit's a gamer too. I mean, Pettit's, he has a mild-mannered exterior. He's like, he's like Superman and Clark Kent. He doesn't look like he wants to go out and compete with you, but don't even think for a second that he wouldn't jump into this ballgame if he thought it meant the difference between a win that saves your season or a loss that sends you home for the rest of the year. Pettit's a good golfer, but he'll wait to make a tee time.
Two to Tino Martinez. Swing and a miss. The ball gets away from Myers. He picks it up, fires down to the end. And that'll end the inning. So here we go. Bottom of the ninth. The heart of the order. Giambi, Doc, and Chavez against Rivera. 1-0 Yankees. Jason Giambi will lead things off for the Athletics. Home half of the ninth inning. 1-0 Yankees.
Tommy, a lot of home run hitters will tell you that they don't really think about hitting home runs when they go to the plate. They try to hit the ball hard on a line somewhere and hope. Giambi's thinking about leaving the yard right now.
Fastball up and in. The Yankees, who have not but one time before tonight faced an elimination game going back to the beginning of the 1998 postseason. That elimination game came last year in Game 5, and they won. Jam shot roller at Soriano, and he'll throw out Giambi. A huge out for Mariano Rivera to begin the bottom of the ninth inning. An unbelievable statistic there in the most unbelievable postseason team in the history of sports.
And those are postseason numbers, not just regular season numbers. We're talking about when it absolutely counts.
Now Jermaine Dye, 1 of 3 in a game. Fastball in the inside corner, a strike.
I think sometimes people wonder exactly what a cutter is or how it reacts. The ball just moves a little bit, cuts in on the lefties like we just saw that happen to Jeter, and that pitch right there to Dye just cuts enough to catch the strike zone.
Tried it again and missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jermaine Dye hit 26 home runs during the regular season. Pettit will sit and watch as Rivera tries to close it out into right center field, and Bernie Williams is not going to get it. It goes to the wall. Dye on his way to second base, and he'll stop there with a 1-out double. The tying run in scoring position against Rivera on the double by Jermaine Dye.
Doing what he's done all year long since he got to the A's. Takes that cutter, tries to take it into the right center field gap. Doesn't try to do too much with it. That's a pretty swing from a big lanky guy that shoots that thing into the opposite field gap and ends up at second base.
So now the winning run comes to the plate. Chavez hit 32 home runs during the regular season.
And Tommy, I think because of what Rivera throws, Chavez should be looking to pull the ball.
Low in, ball 1. The Yankee season hangs in the balance. The A's with a 2-0 lead. And they have the winning run at the plate here in the bottom of the ninth. Big cut by Chavez, and he fouls it straight back.
Chavez in tonight's ball game has just been coming around the pitches a little bit too much, not getting his hands inside the ball straight through the strike zone. The cutter will eat you up if you don't get out in front of that.
Big cut right there. He turned it loose a little bit, but he's behind 1-2. to set up John Wetland in the first Yankee run in '96, has been the man the last 3 postseasons. Struck him out, and Oakland down to its final out of the game.
Now this is the 4-seam fastball, the one that he tries to get up in the zone and ride right past you. Pitch looks so good to hit, but you can't get up on top of it.
Chavez 0 for 4 in the game, 1 for 13 in the series.
Chavez showing a little bit of his inexperience as well in a situation like that when all you really need is a base hit to try to tie this ball game. I said go up there looking to pull the ball, but you don't have to go up there looking to pull it out of the yard. Get a base hit, that ties the game.
Now Jeremy Giambi. And a flare, jam shot foul, 0-1 to Giambi, who's had a pretty good night at the plate. He walked in the second, grounded to second in the fourth, and singled into right, was thrown out at the plate when he tried to score from first on the double by Wong in the seventh. Tying run at second base. 1-1 to Jeremy Giambi.
Unbelievable consistency from the pitchers that we've seen in the ball game today. That pitch right there, people would say, well, it wasn't a strike, it was a ball. He threw the ball exactly where he wanted to. He didn't necessarily want a strike out of it.
Down ball right side, Soriano's got it, and the Yankees live to play another day. The 3-time defending world champions down 2-0. Never before in the history of baseball in a best-of-5 format has a team lost both games on its home turf and come back to win the series. But the Yankees still breathing.
Mike Mussina was tremendous tonight. You got to give Knobloch a lot of credit for the 2 plays that he made out in the outfield. Derek Jeter, an unbelievable play to keep the score at 1-0 Yankees.
Stay with me, Dan.
And then Rivera shutting the door, as he's done so many times before.
The Yankees got a total of 2 hits. The Posada home run, the difference in a 1-0 win. We'll be back.
Play I've seen all season long. What are you doing there?
Well, you know what? Actually, I am supposed to be there. You know, my job is to read the throw. If there's going to be a play at third base, be the cutoff man to third, and if there's a play at the plate, to cut off and throw it home. So, you know, I just got there. I saw the ball over Tino's head. I didn't think it was going to make it to the plate, so I just flipped it to Jorge. He made a great tag.
Looked to me like maybe Michigan should have recruited you to be an option quarterback or something.
No, I can't. I have trouble playing baseball. I can't worry about football.
Joe, Derek, we were talking about, you know, everything that a guy could do. And you seem to save the best in the biggest moment. Is there any way at all to try and explain that to those of us who are just the laymen of the world about having that instinct and ability?
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. Everyone's out here and they're trying hard. You know, I enjoy playing in postseason games. I enjoy coming out here when the pressure's on and you need to perform. You know, that doesn't mean you're going to be successful, but I don't shy away from it. And our team's been like that. So, you know, this is a big win for us today.
Derek, does the pressure now switch back over there? You guys are still down 2-1, but there's no way that the young Oakland team wants to head back to New York to play a Game 5.
Well, that's what we have to focus on. We can't focus on Game 5. You know, we want to win tomorrow. And if we get back to New York, you never know what's going to happen. But we can't worry about Game 5 unless we win Game 4. So we have to come out here ready to play.
Derek, thanks for taking the time to join us. Congratulations tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Derek Jeter and the Yankees stand tall on the brink of elimination, and they'll be facing that same kind of scenario tomorrow.
Do or die, and they don't face that very often, but that's the case now in this series.
And we'll be right here, and we'll look forward to seeing those of you at home. Kevin Kennedy, Jeannie Salasco standing by for more. Yankees win it 1-0 to force Game 4.
Tom, Steve, thank you.
Watch this. Immediately get erased by a 5-4-3 around the horn double play. So early on, the A's were giving the Yankees chances, but the Yankees were unable to capitalize. Now things stayed pretty much the same. Mussina dominant, Barry Zito dominant until the 5th inning, and it's amazing how often the 5th inning figures prominently in the game. We'll start things off with Jorge Posada with 1 out. The only mistake that Barry Zito made today was this pitch that Posada was able to pull. It was right out over the plate and yank it into the first row out there in left field. The way those two pitchers were pitching at that point, it felt like a huge run at the time, and it turns out to be the hugest run of the Yankees season. What was Mike Messina's response in the bottom of the fifth? Well, it was great. He struck out Ramon Hernandez and then got Frankie Menechino, the 8th and 9th hitters in the orders. So his response was perfect. Still 1-0 as we go now to the 6th inning. That's when Mike Messina would be calling on his defenders to help him out. He left. The Yankees didn't score in the top of the 6th inning. They had a couple of guys on base, but Tino Martinez grounded out. In the bottom of the 6th inning, watch this. Scott Brocious grabs the line drive off of Johnny Damon's bat. That's one base runner saved. Miguel Tejada popped out. Look at it again. Great reactions from Brocious. He also had one of those bare hand grabs on a ground ball at third base. And then Jason Giambi, always dangerous. Look at the ground that Chuck Knobloch covers. Oh, yeah. He pulls that one down. Put an asterisk next to it. We did. Knobloch. Amazing that he covered the ground and was able to get the glove on the ball. So the Yankee defenders coming to the aid of Mike Messina, and on we go to the late innings. The Yankees didn't score in the top of the 7th inning. Barry Zito struck out 2, Spencer and Velarde. But in the bottom of the 7th inning, one of the greatest plays you'll ever see. Jeremy Giambi singled. Terrence Long pulled one down the line. Shane Spencer has to pull it down in the bullpen in the corner. It's rattling around. They give the green light to Jeremy Giambi. Spencer overthrows his 2 cutoff men, but Jeter flips and Posada makes the tag. And the Yankees get the call. The A's were stunned as Ramon Hernandez was screaming at the plate for Jeremy Giambi to slide. Why was Jeter even there? And how does he get his body lunging to the left to throw back to the right? Posada just had to reach behind and hope that Giambi was there. He doesn't slide. He's got to slide, but he doesn't. If he did, the A's would have tied the game. And that's one of the best plays you'll ever see in any game, especially in a postseason 1-0 game that was trying to save the New York Yankees season. Then Mike Messina's pulled from the game and Mariano Rivera's called in to get 6 outs. And he got Ramon Hernandez, or he got Almedo Sainz. Greg Myers singled in the 8th inning. Then a fly in foul territory to Tino Martinez. And then Miguel Tejada hit a ball right on the screws. Chuck Knobloch pulled it down a line drive to end the 8th. Then a ground ball by Jason Giambi. That was a huge out on the first out of the bottom of the 9th inning. Then Jermaine Dye, his second hit of the game, a double. The place is jumping. Eric Chavez strikes out. And then Jeremy Giambi, who was involved in the game-ending play, and the game-ending play that we just showed you in which he didn't slide, he grounded out to Alfonso Soriano. And the Yankees hold on to win this one by the score of 1-0. Let's show you the numbers on the pitchers and how they dueled tonight. Barry Zito, man, his stuff was amazing. 8 innings, only 2 hits. He gave up the Jorge Posada home run. He walked only 1 while striking out 6. Mike Messina, 7 innings, 4 hits scattered, 0 earned runs, and that's really all he had to work with. He had no margin for error tonight. 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. Mike Messina was great in getting the New York Yankees back into this series. So the A's lead things by the count of 2-1, and now we look forward to Game 4 and what's coming from the Network Associates Coliseum in a matter of moments. Player reactions, and you heard Joe Torre in the game broadcast. He said, it's a little overwhelming if you look at winning 3 straight, but I have to think that this team can, and they're on their way as they take the first game in Oakland. And now, as I mentioned before, we're going to find out to what state of readiness El Duque is for Game 4, and then we'll talk to Michael Kay and find out about Roger Clemens. Evidently, in his pregame media conference, Joe Torre didn't have many good things to say about Roger Clemens' medical condition and that he might not be ready if there is a Game 5, but of course the Yankees have to win a Game 4 to make that necessary. If you saw the graphic on the screen, it's amazing what the Yankees have done in their postseason history. For as precarious as that was with Mariano Rivera on the mound, they have only blown a lead in the 9th inning in their postseason history 1 time. They are 149-1 now when they carry a lead into the 9th inning of a postseason game. So that's pretty much it. An unbelievable play by Derek Jeter that they'll be talking about for a long time. And in a moment, I would imagine Michael Kay will find out from Derek Jeter what told him to be there. I mean, there's so much that comes into play. Baseball awareness, an instinct, a quick reaction. I mean, he must have had a view that that throw was not going to be able to be caught by Tino Martinez or Alfonso Soriano. And somehow he's able to cover the ground and then spin his body to make that play. Try to do that without the situation being what it was and see if you could somehow put it in Jorge Posada's glove exactly where it needed to be for him to make that catch. So we'll take a break in our post-game coverage here as the Yankees win 1-0 in an amazing thriller out in Oakland, California. Jorge Posada was the difference. In addition to Jeter and Mike Messina, this was the only run of the game. And meanwhile, now, instead of taking a break, we're going to go back to Oakland, California, where Art Howe is meeting live with the media.
It was a bang-bang play, that's for sure. And, they got the call, and I don't know if he had slid, if he would have been able to get in or not, but we'll never know.
Should he have slid?
Should he have slid?
I think Ramon was telling him to slide. So,
Brian, do you have a... Okay, another one?
Surprised
Yes.
to see the shortstop making that.
I don't have any clue why he was even involved in that. But it worked out pretty well for them.
Another one?
Knowing that,
Right.
second guess it, but knowing that Jeremy's not a great base runner, any thought when he was on?
Yeah, there was thought. If he'd gotten scoring position, that's when I was going to run for him. And because I knew that there was a good chance we got anything going, he was going to come up as he did in the ninth with a chance to win the ball game for us. And I didn't want to take his bat out of the lineup unless I really had to.
Are the hitters from both teams pressing, or were you seeing outstanding?
Are the hitters from both teams pressing, or were you seeing outstanding at-bats from both?
Outstanding pitching, I think. I think both guys, this is the kind of game I think both sides expected. A low-scoring game. I said that before the game, but Barry obviously made one mistake and pitched a great ball game. He has nothing to be, upset about because he did his job. We just couldn't muster any offense.
Yep, Brian.
You had a conversation with Kerwin Danley between innings about something?
What were you talking with Kerwin Danley about between innings?
Oh, that's a private matter.
One more?
Art
Okay.
gave up 1 run in 18 innings and lose a game. Is it a tough way to take it?
You gave up 1 run in 18 innings and lose a game. Is it a tough one to take?
Yeah, I mean, we battled tonight. And when you have a young man go out there and pitch the way he did, you'd certainly like to come away with a win. But you have to give the Yankees credit. They came out and battled and got it done tonight. So we have to come back tomorrow and see if we can get it tomorrow.
Okay. Bill?
We need one win.
What were your overall impressions of Messina?
What were your overall impressions of Messina?
Exactly what I expected. Competitor, he pitched well, he changed speeds, and he pitched a heck of a game.
Okay, there.
Any concerns about how your team will be affected psychologically by losing a close game?
Do you have any concerns about how your team will be affected psychologically losing a close game?
No, we've bounced back from a lot worse than this during the year, so we'll be ready to play tomorrow.
Okay, we're going to let you go, Art. Thank you. Wait for Joe Torre, and we hope to have Mike Messina, Jorge.
All right, emotionally, Art Howe is an awful lot like Joe Torre. And, a lot of people went crazy about what Art Howe said before the series about how the Yankees would have to play a great series if they had any chance of beating his team. Fact of the matter is, he was right. The Yankees do have to play great if they're going to beat this Oakland A's team. They know that now more than they ever needed to know it. And as you look at this A's team, the changes that were made have dramatically changed the look of the team from what the Yankees saw last year. Johnny Damon has been a disruptor leading off. Jermaine Dye was a great acquisition, and then the maturing process is all kicking in. The Yankees clearly have their work cut out for them with the game that's to be played tomorrow. El Duque going up against Corey Lytle. So as you heard Phyllis Merge say in the media room there at Network Coliseum, they were expecting to have Joe Torre and then maybe Mike Messina. And of course, that'll be part of our post-game coverage regardless, because Michael Kay always speaks to Joe when the game is over. As this game proceeded, it got more and more and more tense as you wound it down toward the Mariano Rivera 6 outs. And Joe Torre got those 6 outs from Mariano Rivera, and that all preserved the Jorge Posada home run that came in the 5th inning. Let's show you some numbers now that have been compiled since the game ended. Let's check this out. What do we got? The 3, 4, and 5 comparison. Still, the Yankees' offense is nowhere to be found. Derek Jeter, 0 for 3. He had come into this 5 for 8 in this series so far. Bernie Williams, still lost. Tino Martinez, 0 for 3. Miguel Tejada, Jason Giambi got a hit. Jermaine Dye got 2. A double that certainly complicated things in the 9th inning. And there you see the comparison of the heart of both the Yankees and the Athletics batting orders. But this was not a night to talk about offense. This was a night to talk about pitching. It was amazing. And now we'll take a break on this Jeep Post Game Report as we talk about Game 3 of the ALDS. Jorge Posada, Mike Messina, and Derek Jeter joining Mariano Rivera to star as the Yankees win to send this to a Game 4. Games, and tomorrow, just like today, it's do or die. Well, they'll be talking about what happened tonight Shane Spencer with the throw home. It's over the head of the 2 cutoff man, and Derek Jeter races into the breach and flips to Jorge Posada, who I think there gets the knee of Jeremy Giambi just before he touches the plate. Right there. Wow, was that bang bang? But you have to say Kerwin Danley was right on the scene. The home plate umpire making the call. The A's were stunned, but again, I think if he slides, he's in there. And you heard Art Howe say moments ago that he did think about putting in a pinch runner for Jeremy Giambi, but he wanted to keep his bat in the game as long as possible. But it didn't plan out very well for the Oakland A's because that was a sensational play. Michael Kay spoke to Joe Torre just a few moments ago, and I'm sure he's going to have some glowing things to say about his shortstop. Let's go out and listen to what they had to say.
Joe, that seemed like a great game. How was it for you?
I mean, I'm a fan because, when you're seeing this pitching, there's not much you do except watch. And we didn't have many opportunities, and Georgie barely hit a home run. But the defense was some kind of special tonight.
All right, let's talk about the Jeter play. Where did he come from? Was he supposed to be there? Have you ever seen a play like that before?
Yeah, the shortstop, we work on that in the spring. Thank God we had a chance to use it tonight. But we work on that in the spring, and Jeter has to, see where the play is going to be. And because that's the sure double down the line. If the play is going to be at third, he has to be the cutoff man to third base. But as soon as he sees the play is going to be to the plate, he has to be that second cutoff man.
Are you marveling at the way he could just backflip that ball with any kind of force and make a perfect backflip?
Nothing he does surprises me, Michael. I mean, that stuff you can't teach. I mean, he's born with the instincts and the, wanting to be in the eye of the storm all the time. He's a sensational young man, and he really keeps everything together for us.
Okay, Messina was magnificent. You decided to go to Rivera for the 2 innings. Explain that.
Well, I know Moose only threw 100 pitches, but, in a game like this, that's like 140. And I just felt they hit a couple of balls hard right at the end of the 7th inning, and I just decided to go with Mo and, really stop managing at that point in time. And, Mo made it interesting, but it was a terrific win for us.
Now Andy's up as a throw day for Monday?
Yeah, that was all. We kept him from throwing because in case we needed some help to get out of an inning or something, we would have used him. But once we got to Mo, then there was no reason to hold him back.
Can you describe what your innards are feeling like when Dye is standing on second and you still need 2 outs?
Well, Mo's the difference. I mean, even if it's bases loaded and 1 out with Rivera on the mound, he finds a way to get it done. And I have so much confidence in him. And I tell you, Michael, I can't be more proud of the way Knobloch played left field, Brocious at third base, and just that play the kid made coming home. It was just a great game that we played under a lot of pressure, like you do in all these postseason games, and we were able to hold it together.
You feel this breathed some life into your team?
Well, I think it shifts momentum a little bit. It gives us a good feeling. We're still not hitting at all, but we certainly didn't waste anything tonight. Hopefully, have something for tomorrow.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Now live to Mike
I
Messina.
tried to go out there and take it like it was just another game, and it turned out to be, pretty exciting. 1-run game again, and I know it was tough for people to see. Hitters, I know our hitters were coming back saying it was tough to see, so I know it was tough for their guys to see. We're just, we're fortunate we got into one baseball. We got one swing on one ball today. I know we hit some other ones hard, but once in a while you find a way to make 1 run stand up, and that's what we did.
Okay, who else? Brian?
Could you tell us your view of the play in the bottom of the 7th? You had a pretty good...
Tell us your view of the play in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, my view was it started out about halfway between third and home, because that's where I'm supposed to be backing up, kind of gauging what's happening. And as I went over there, I saw Ron Washington cranking him to try to score. So I headed back towards, behind the plate, first base angle, and I saw the throw coming in kind of high and clear both our cutoff men, and Jeter come over from about the mound, scoop it up and backhand shovel pass and swipe tag, and that was it. And then I just looked at Kerwin to see what call he was going to make, because it was bang bang, and he called him out.
Ian.
Mike, this is your first Yankee playoff game, and you had no margin for error, and you go 7 innings, no earned runs. You think this is one that you're going to remember for quite a while?
This is your first Yankee postseason playoff game, and you had no margin for error. Do you think this is one you're going to remember with your performance?
Well, I'm sure I'm going to remember it, yeah. I thought it was a exciting game, and, we found a way to win it, which this team has done on this championship run they've had in the last 5 years. So it was an exciting game. It was fun to be involved, and I'm glad we came out on top.
Sean?
Mike, being Derek Jeter's teammate for the first time this year, is he a player who's best appreciated and you see him play every day in those kind of instinctive moves like he makes?
Being Derek Jeter's teammate for the first time this year, is he the kind of player whose play you appreciate when you see him every day, his instincts for the game and the moves he makes?
I think there are players in this league and in baseball in general that when you see them occasionally in a 3-game series here or a 3-game series there, you get to see spurts of what they're capable of. When you get to play with them every day, and I've been fortunate enough in my career to play with some pretty good players every day, you really get to see how talented they really are, what they can come up with, plays they make. And this could be as simple as running the bases or the play you made today. And it's fun to watch these guys when you get to see them every day. When you get to see them once in a while, once in a while you get an amazing play out of them. When you see them every day, they seem to come up with something a lot more often.
Okay, last one from Dave, because El Duque is waiting. Yes.
Mike, how happy were you to see Posada's home run clear the wall?
How happy were you to see Posada's run clear the wall, home run?
Well, I was, I don't know, ecstatic maybe? I don't know. You know, it's pretty much been my games every year that we just try to find a way to only score 1 or 2 runs, so I got to make them stand up. And like I said, the first 3 innings was tremendously tough for both sides to see the baseball with those windows out there in center field. It was laying right up on the shelf, right on top of the scoreboard. So, you know, and it was in the 5th inning, in the middle of the game, and I know there's a lot of game to go on a team that scores a lot of runs, haven't lost a home game in who knows how long. And, you know, I was hoping it was one of a couple we were going to come up with, but didn't turn out that way. So, and you know, we were able. Mo came in, pitched great, 2 full innings, and so we get to play again tomorrow.
Thank you, Mike. We'll let El Duque come in. Thanks very much.
Mike Messina, not an excitable guy at all. You could never tell he was just involved in one of the best playoff games that he's ever appeared in, his first as a member of the New York Yankees. And that stadium, if you've ever been there, it's just stupid. It's designed totally for football, and for the first few innings, all the fans are like this, and then you're trying to hit curveballs from Messina and Zito. It's virtually impossible. So the pitchers were able to take advantage of that. And it is a 1-0 Yankee win tonight in Oakland, California. Now, Michael Kay moments ago spoke to the man of the hour in that play in the 7th inning. Here's Derek Jeter and Michael Kay from a few moments ago.
Was that as great a play for you who made it than everybody who saw it? I mean, Joe Torre just said that's a great play. Spencer said it's a great play. When you did it, did you say, wow, that was a pretty great play?
Well, you really don't have much time to celebrate it because we only had a 1-run lead and it was a close game, and you have to focus on offense. So you realize it's a big play in the game, but you also then you got to turn your attention to scoring some more runs.
Do you work on that in spring training, on plays unfolding exactly that way? Or is it
Well, you work on your positioning, you know, where you're supposed to be, but you know, you don't work on catching it and flipping it.
Have you made a play like that you can recall?
What's that?
A play like that in the past?
At the plate?
Yeah, I mean, similar play like that. Is that when you're the trailer? Is that ever?
No, not like that. Sometimes you have time to set up, but in that
game discussion, Michael Kay is on the scene.
Yeah, we went out for a double cut, and usually when a guy goes to the wall like Spence did, you know, I was around first base and that my double cut, and he airmailed me. Surprisingly, I didn't think he could throw it that far to begin with. And Jeet was just there. Jeet saw the ball in the air and read it and just picked it and flipped it real quick and made an outstanding play.
Can you actually believe that he did that, the backhand play? I mean, when you were standing there watching it, could you believe he could get that much on the throw?
No, I couldn't. I knew they were sending, I think it was Jeremy Giambi. I knew they were sending him regardless of the situation. And I was going to cut it and fire home anyway, so when it went over my head, I still thought it might roll to Jorge and give us a chance, but we needed that flip. He just read that play perfectly.
How great a game was this to play in?
It was a great game to play in, a great game to win. You know, it's a tough game, it's a postseason, and we need to come out tomorrow and do the same thing, play 9 hard ones and see what happens.
You guys feel like this breathed a little life into you?
Oh, absolutely. We always feel that way when you win the first game, the third game, switch the momentum a little bit. We need to come out tomorrow firing and see if we can put put them away early.
You seemed a little upset when Zito came up and in on you. Were you, or were you just down on the ground and looking that way?
No, I wasn't down on the ground. He ain't knocking me down. he tries to come up and in every time I face him the first time and hit me or push me back and try to set up his curveball. And he hit me this time, but it's not going to affect me.
How good was he today?
He was good. He was good, but, we hit some balls hard here and there that, we hit our shots, and he pitched well, but, the bottom line is we won.
So the play and the win breathed some life into the New York Yankees, and you look at Tino Martinez and Paul O'Neill and David Justice, who weren't in the starting lineup tonight. They have one more game to play, perhaps. Michael Kay joins us live from Network Associates Coliseum. Mike, could you hear me yell wow from here at Madison Square Garden when Jeter made that play?
Absolutely, I think I did. It was after I was screaming wow because I was doing the play-by-play. That's a play for the ages. Jeter made a similar play, not obviously the backhand flip, but a play of that size in the first game of the World Series last year when he made the relay throw, throwing across his body, moving into to foul territory down the left field line. It's no accident that a player like that makes plays like that, Al. He's just an amazing ball player in big situations.
What was the atmosphere like at the Coliseum tonight?
It was amazing. It's the largest crowd ever see a baseball game here in Oakland, and they were ready. I mean, they were ready to celebrate a championship or a mini championship where they can go on to the ALCS, and they were primed. They really were, and it was the sort of game where nothing really took them out of it. They quieted down just a little bit with the Posada home run, but for the most part, they stayed in it the whole way. The ninth inning was deafening, especially after Jermaine Dye got that double, but it was an amazing atmosphere. It was electric. The stadium was shaking several times, and they were into it, and I don't blame them. I was into it.
Mike, I don't know about you, but it's really hard to believe that for all this Yankee team has done, that in a game that could end their season and the dynasty and maybe the Yankee careers of a bunch of players, they get only 2 hits. They still won, but it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is pretty amazing, and it's a concern because, if you look at this A's lineup, it's so left-handed laden now, and you know that El Duque has to be perfect to get this lineup out. He simply has to be. I don't think he's going to pitch a shutout tomorrow. The Yankees should be very happy if he gives up 2 or 3 runs, which means that they're going to have to score 4 runs, which is what they haven't scored in the 3 games total. They scored 3 in the first and 1 tonight. Obviously, the hitting is not there, but one thing, Al, you win a game like this getting only 2 hits, the Posada home run, and I think that buoys your spirits just a little bit. I think with an offense, you can press. I'm not saying they were nervous, but everybody's trying to hit a 5-6 run home run. That doesn't happen. You start to grip the bat, it becomes sawdust. I think tomorrow they come up there a little bit more calm, and I think they're into the game, just focused a little more on just taking the ball the other way. Lytle's tough, but he is not anything like Mulder, Hudson, or Zito, so the Yankees get a little bit of a break there. I know he's 9-1 in his last 10 decisions, but if the Yankees had to face a guy in a do-or-die situation, I think they'd pick Lytle over the other 3.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about Game 4 in a moment. First, Mike Messina. For all that money the Yankees paid him, he's a money guy tonight.
He was amazing. He really was, and he tired a little bit there in the 7th. I think the final pitch he threw was his 100th pitch, and you heard what Joe Torre said. In a game like this, that's like 140. Everybody that you spoke to before the game, Al, felt that this was the sort of game it was going to be, that Messina was going to be lights out, and he was. He was amazing down the stretch for the Yankees. I think he was 6-1 in his last 7 decisions with a 1.32 ERA. He was arguably the Yankees' best pitcher over the final 2 months. He had 1 bad start, and that was after the week that they took off because of the tragedy, and I don't think anybody was surprised he pitched like this. He's a big game pitcher. That's why they gave him the money, and I'm surprised they didn't let him pitch the 8th inning, but when you have Mariano Rivera out in the bullpen, you go with him for the 2.
Mike, any thoughts, conversations with Paul O'Neill for what could have been a final game with the New York Yankees? We don't know so much, but Joe Torre, I'm sure, was anguished not to give him a chance to start this game tonight with David Justice.
Yeah, it was tough, and I spoke with O'Neill. In fact, he was my pregame radio interview, and he took it in stride. He said, listen, the way I have to look at this is that we're going to win this game somehow. There's a right-hander pitching tomorrow, and I'll get a chance to play in tomorrow's game. I think Joe Torre also has a very tough decision, Al, because what do? Do you break up a lineup that won a game, although it only had 2 hits and 1 run? Do you put Justice and O'Neill back in? I think they do. But O'Neill seemed somewhat melancholy before the game, but very much accepting. He said, listen, I haven't done the job. David hasn't done the job, and you have to make changes in times like this because we have to win this game. So I think he accepted it, but I think deep inside he was hurt.
All right, Velarde went 0 for 3 in the start tonight, and Spencer had the other hit. Posada's home run and his double were the only hits that they got off of Barry Zito tonight. Now, Mike, let's talk about Game 4 for a moment. What do you think we could expect from El Duque? I mean, the way his season ended with the dead arm and Roger Clemens volunteering to help out and then getting a couple of innings before the regular season was over. What do you think? Yeah, any gut feelings?
My gut feeling is that he's going to pitch okay. I don't know if he's going to pitch lights out like he did that time against the Braves where he pitched the one-hitter. I don't know if he's that sharp. He hasn't pitched enough. But I think he has it in him to pitch maybe a 2-run game over 6 innings. I don't think they'd have him go very much more. The Yankee bullpen, except for Rivera, is rested, so they could go with Mendoza for the 6th inning or the 7th. They could go with Stanton. I think it's going to be everybody and friends tomorrow, and that's the way you have to do this. I mean, you can't sit back and wait for Game 5. What you have to do is simply throw the kitchen sink out at the A's. I think that El Duque could give them 5 or 6 innings. Again, I don't think it's going to be shutout innings because I don't know if we could possibly expect him to be that sharp. But I think his pedigree, Al, that he's a big game pitcher, that he's 8-1 in postseasons, I don't think you could forget that. I think that's a legitimate thing to hold on to if you're a Yankee fan. I think that you dig deep down if you're El Duque and you give everything you have. Obviously, you don't worry about hurting your arm in this situation because if you don't pitch well, you have the whole winter to rest anyway. I think he's going to pitch okay.
Mike, tell me about this theory that I've got. I think tomorrow's game is almost like a 6-inning game for the same reason that the first 3 innings of this game were so tough for the hitters. You're going to start tomorrow at about 1:30 Pacific time. That means late in the afternoon when the sun gets to the point where it was when this game started tonight and it was glaring off those windows in center field. It's really tough to hit, so that could really hamper any comeback efforts in the late innings, do you think?
It's a great point, Al, and I think it might even be earlier than the 6th inning. It could be the 4th inning because the sun was like that today. I'd say maybe in the maybe 2 innings in, and obviously well before that as well. So I think that it's not so much the shadows that bother people, Al. The players are telling me after the game the thing that bothers you is the sun glinting off Mount Davis, the football structure, because you kind of get blinded and the pitcher's arm is coming out of the sun as well. So that could happen in the 3rd or 4th inning. So what you have to do is you got to pitch 3 strong innings on your own, and Duque and Lytle will do that. And then if you go to the bullpen, if you're the Yankees, you come in with the hard throwers. You come in with Mariano Rivera. You come in with Mike Stanton. You might even use a Watasic or a Wohlers. Again, you use everybody, and I think the sun's going to help you just a little bit. It's a game that you have to manage very differently, Al, because you bring up that good point about the sun becoming a factor and the shadows becoming a factor as well. And one other thing, if you're the Oakland A's, I mean, you have to feel a little bit of pressure for the first time in this series. Think about it. If they lose tomorrow, they have to travel 3,000 miles and try to beat the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. So that almost becomes a very important win for them. It's a must-win for the Yankees. It's not a must-win for the A's, but it's about as much of a must-win as you could have if it's not an elimination game. So I think the A's are going to feel some heat tomorrow.
Yeah, Mike, why don't the guys wear sunglasses if the glare is so bright?
You mean at the plate?
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, if you wear the sunglasses and then the ball comes out of the sun and into the shadows, you lose it like that. So that's why they wouldn't do it.
All right, what about the pregame news from Joe Torre that they passed along a little bit on the broadcast that Roger Clemens wouldn't be ready for a Game 5? Is that the notion that you have too?
Well, I just spoke to Roger, and I don't know if we're going to play that interview, but he told me that he threw. He's still not there. He says, I have another day to get ready. He said, I'm not going to think that far ahead until Monday. He said, but the possibility exists that I could possibly pitch on Monday. But from talking to people, Al, and just seeing the way Clemens answered me when I spoke to him, I think that what we're going to get is Andy Pettitte and friends. That's what Joe Torre told the writers before the game, and I think that's what's going to happen. Andy's going to pitch on 3 days rest, just like he did in Game 5 last year, and he'll go as far as he can go, and then the whole bullpen will go as well. So
is that why Pettitte was throwing in the bullpen tonight?
Well, you know what they did tonight, Al, is they held Pettitte back in case Messina got roughed up early because they were going to pitch Pettitte on 1 day's rest and relief, maybe in the middle of the lineup to get the left-handers.
Really?
And then when they realized, well, this is going to be Mariano's game in the 9th inning, they didn't want Pettitte to stay after the game to get his throwing in. So this would be his throw day if he was going to pitch on Monday, and he took his throw day actually on the bullpen mound, but Joe had no intention of bringing him in.
Anything left?
Let's see. Scott Brosius said that it was one of the great plays that he's ever seen. That was the Derek Jeter play. Tino Martinez told me that he was angry at Barry Zito. He said he always comes up and in. I said, well, were you mad when he knocked you down? And Tino said he did not knock me down. He said he just comes up and in, and I wanted to show him that wasn't going to be a big deal. I think the Yankees are really tremendously happy after this game, Al. I think it breathed life into them, and I think they have themselves a series on their hand right now.
Now, Mike, I think we have that Derek Jeter play. You're a 7th inning guy, right? On
yes,
the radio?
I am.
All right, as we play it, give me a sense of how your call went.
Okay.
The throw's coming in. There's Jeter right now.
I said, here's the throw, and here's the play, cut off, flipped over by Jeter to Posada. I mean, it would just happen so quickly. I don't even know if I said Jeter in the first play-by-play. I just said it was cut off and flipped to Posada. I mean, no one expected Jeter to be there except for the team, because Joe Torre said that they actually practiced that play in spring training. So it was a tremendous play. It was a tremendous play to be behind the mic for, and it was just an unbelievable game to call and to watch. And, you know, before I turned the camera on when I interviewed Joe Torre, he took a deep breath. He said, that's one of the greatest games I've ever seen. You know, just because of what was at stake, the way it was played, the nail batting aspect, the play by Jeter, the clutch pitching by Messina, and then the gutty performance by Rivera. That's about as good a game as you're going to see.
Well, Mike, I said before we went out to you live, I've looked at that replay now, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 times. One time I think he got him on the knee and he was out. The next time I think he beat the tag somehow and was safe. What do you think?
Well, I thought it was very close. I think he got him on the calf before the foot came down. But again, you never know because replays are three-dimensional. But the one question that's going to be asked to Art Howe, well, there's going to be two questions. Ron Washington has to be asked, why'd you waive Jeremy Giambi? Because he's one of the slowest guys on the team. And the second question, since it's the 7th inning and Jeremy Giambi's only your DH anyway, why didn't you pinch run for him?
Because well, he said in his press conference a few moments ago he thought about it but wanted to keep his bat in the game as long as possible. And I think the one thing you get out of that replay is if he does slide, then Washington, the third base coach, did the right thing, because if he slides, he's going to be safe.
Yeah, because I think if he slides, he's actually below the area where Posada caught the ball. Posada caught the ball here, and he'd have to come all the way down. But the way it was, Posada just made the swipe straight across, almost like parallel to the ground, and he got him on the calf. And, you know, if the Yankees go, I said this on the radio side as well, Al, if the Yankees go on to win their 4th straight championship, which I mean is an extreme long shot because they're still down 2-1, that play will go down in history as one of the great postseason plays of all time. It was that clutch, it was that odd, and it was that well executed that, you know, you just don't see plays like that. And when you do see plays like that, you kind of realize why Derek Jeter makes $19 million a year.
Yeah, you do. And you know, you think Jorge Posada, he grabs that throw from Jeter. He's just spinning around and hoping he sees someone wearing an Oakland A's uniform, and he did, and he saw the leg of Giambi. If he slides, he's underneath that reaction play. Mike, I think we're done.
Okay, Al, thanks a lot. Talk to you tomorrow.
Right. See you tomorrow. That's Michael Kay live from the Network Associates Coliseum in Oakland, California. It was quite a night of baseball. 1-0 Yankees. They'll play a Game 4, and we'll have more post-game coverage tomorrow right here on MSG. But there was only 1 run scored, and Jorge Posada brought it around with the home run off of Barry Zito. This is the Jeet post-game report on MSG. Zito hasn't done a lot of losing lately. It's his first loss in his last 14 starts. And 55,861 fans, the largest baseball crowd in that Coliseum's history, watched a 1-0 Yankee thriller win. The only run provided by the man we're going to hear from in a moment, Jorge Posada, 5th inning, 1 out. It's gone over the left field wall. That is the only mistake that Barry Zito made all day, and it was a day in which he and Mike Messina had no margin for error. Let's go back out to Oakland, California. Here's Jorge Posada.
I'm just hanging around, and Spencer throws the ball over both cutoff mans, and Jeter's job is just to stay around and see if he's gonna be the cutoff man to go to guy at third, or hangs around to go to home plate. He sees the ball on the air and just flips it to me. I just go I go all or nothing and try to tag him, and I got him on the leg on the way up. On the way down.
Another one, Ian.
Can you just talk about the home run, the pitch you got, how gratifying it was to get you guys a lead?
Would you talk about the pitch you got and how gratifying it was to get you guys a lead?
Well, I got a pitch, you say middle in, fastball middle in, and just put the ball in play. And I was trying to stay back on him, and he did a great job to keep us off balance all day. And and that was the only run. And Messina, was amazing for us.
So Jorge Posada involved in the game-saving play and the game-winning play, his own home run. Meanwhile, Joe Torre called on Mariano Rivera to get 6 huge outs, and he did. But that, of course, could put his availability for Game 4 in a question mark. But Torre, of course, is trying to win today and play to win for that Game 4 chance, and he did. Let's go back out to the Coliseum now. Mariano Rivera in the Yankee clubhouse after that 1-0 win.
I don't think it was nerve at all. I was trying to get those guys out, and it's not tough. It wasn't easy at all. I just trying to make some pitches and keep it missing inside with right-handers. Finally, we got the last out, the big one.
When Dye hits the double, are you reaching back for a little bit more for the other 2 batters?
Oh yeah, I have to. That's the only thing that went to my mind. I have nothing. to hope for. You know, I just go out and try to make good pitches, which I did.
Were you surprised when you got the call to pitch the 8th and the 9th?
No, really. Not really. No, I haven't done that before. And Joe knows it. I know it. You know, everybody knows it in this club. You know, games like that, I want to be there. So I think it's Joe. Then he gave me the opportunity to pitch.
Now, if there's a game 5, can you pitch tomorrow and game 5?
Hey, like I said, I didn't have nothing to hold. You know, I had to give everything that I have, and I will be there.
Well, there you go. He will be there if needed. So Rivera gives up a single in the 8th and a double in the 9th, but no runs. So his career postseason ERA drops 0.02 of a point. Let's flip the page now to Barry Zito. He was able to speak on the podium here tonight. What would you feel like if you lost a game like this 1-0? Well, this is a free spirit guy. He's not a guy who grew up collecting baseball cards, a lover of the game. He sort of just found out as he was growing up that, like, okay, hey, I'm sort of good at it. So he's a free spirit. And here is his summary of what he felt like after tonight's 1-0 loss.
As well as you pitched today, how tough is it to see your whole day basically ruined on one pitch?
It's pretty tough. I mean, you know going into a game like this that it's going to be very low scoring, especially with Mussina throwing. And, you know, it was a fastball that should have went in, and it didn't. And, you know, I remember last year, too, Posada got the only run. So I kind of got to bear down on him next time. But, you know, like I said, Mussina pitched great, and, you know, hopefully we can come out tomorrow and get some runs.
Who else? Yes.
Would you say that this is as much as you could have expected from yourself today?
Would you say this is as much as you could have expected from yourself today?
I think so. I mean, you know, you make a mistake most times, it's not going to get hit out of the park. I mean, as long as you keep guys off balance, they might foul it back or, you know, pop it up. And I got to tip my hat to Posada for, you know, capitalizing on the mistakes. And, you know, holding them to 2 hits that was a big thing for me. And you know, not walking a lot of guys is something that I knew I had to do coming out. So, I mean, it's tough losing a game like that. But then again, I felt good that, you know, I had my stuff tonight and I could hold them to a run.
One last player to hear from, it's Scott Brocious, who has not been contributing at all offensively. He's another quiet Yankee bat, 0 for 10 so far in the 3 games of this ALDS. But with his glove, that's a different story. He made one of those rolling ground ball, bare hand plays in tonight's game, grabbed a line drive, and so he contributes as he often does with his glove. And here he is in the Yankee clubhouse from a few minutes ago.
So, like I said, at this point, it's one game at a time, but you know, we feel good about what happened tonight, and we'll just come out and try to do it again tomorrow.
Do you think this swings momentum just a little bit in your favor?
Yeah, I don't know about, you know, I don't know about the whole momentum thing, but it does. I mean, it gives us life. It gives us some energy in here. And, you know, we know that we have another big game pitcher throwing for us tomorrow in El Duque. And we expect him to go out and give us every chance to win. And so it's time for, you know, time for us offensively to turn it up a little bit and try to make it a little bit easier for him.
From your vantage point, how great a play did Jeter make?
Tremendous. You know, it's like I said, he was in the right spot to begin with, which is, you know, doesn't always happen on a play like that. It's easy to become kind of a spectator and watch the play develop. And again, just to kind of take the hop like he did and make the flip, you know, just great athletic play.
So this game is sometimes determined by 60 feet 6 inches from the pitcher's mound, or from home plate to first base in 90 feet, or down the line at 314 or 405 to center. Tonight, this game was decided by that much. That's how much Jorge Posada's glove hits the knee, perhaps, of Jeremy Giambi, or that Derek Jeter's throw goes perfectly into Posada's glove. That's how this game will be remembered. It was a 1-0 thriller. The Yankees stay alive. We'll be back after tomorrow's Game 4 in the American League Division Series between the Yankees and the Oakland A's. For Michael Kay, I'm Al Trowick. Thanks for joining us. This is the play that defined this night of baseball for New York. Good night.
On first base right now, doesn't have a stolen base the entire season, so you're not going to run, you're not going to hit and run, you got to wait for a gapper.